Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey, here we are on a Thursday Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Adam the Bull, G. Bush, and Mikey McNuggets, and we got a lot to get to today. We were just talking a little World Series. It's over. The Rangers have won their first championship. Anthony's cousin, and Anthony is sitting in Mike's chair today. Anthony's cousin, Austin Hedges, winning a championship, of course. Part of that Ranger team. Apparently he was on Chris Rose's podcast or something.
The Rose Rotation.
And I think he said he was going to wear assless chaps in the parade.
He did.
Is that true?
I don't know.
He said it.
Can
Will
he
he
get
do
it
it?
off?
Who knows? But that's what he said.
Mike and Chris Russo said he was going to retire if the Diamondbacks got to the World Series, and he's, not shockingly, not a man of his word. So we'll talk a little bit about the World Series in overtime, what the Guardians are going to do with their manager situation maybe in overtime. I talked a little bit about it on my podcast today. The Cavs won. Yay. Excited?
Before we get into any real football topics, so we're not going to spend any time on the Cavs.
I asked you a question.
Well,
Are you excited about the Cavs? Yeah.
I would have been if I could see the game. But Bally's,
their
once
app
again,
is trash.
Screwed us over. It is the single worst app I've ever had to experience and deal with on a daily basis. And the fact that we're in the year 2023, and we can't just casually watch a team in the city you live in.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It is an absolute joke, and Bally's should be ashamed of themselves. Bally's was a joke when I lived in Texas. It was a joke when I lived in Massachusetts.
Awful. That's why they're filing
and it
for
continues
bankruptcy.
to be a joke today.
It's an
absolute catastrophe.
Let me see. My conspiracy theory is like it ain't no bug. Here's the problem. You telling me they ain't already laid some people off? They in bankruptcy. How many IT guys are really working on the problem?
These sports need to take control of these situations. Like baseball's got to take over all these Bally stations. They got to make it accessible. We should be able to watch everything on.
It's 2023.
We shouldn't have to pay for cable or anything else. We should be able to pay for our team at the very least. We should be able to pay for the MLB package on anything.
Why don't the NFL, MLB, the leagues just come out with their own networks? You have the technology.
I mean, they have their networks, but they don't. They need to provide. They need to provide access to all the games. It's ridiculous that they.
And it's stupid that League Pass, which I have.
Yeah.
You can't watch Cavs games on League Pass.
I know,
so it doesn't even circumvent the issue of Bally sucking.
Same thing with Sunday Ticket.
Sunday Ticket, and
It's
this
useless.
MLB, the MLB ticket, does that allow you to watch every game, even your hometown team? I don't know.
No, you're blacked out from that.
Which is also a joke. If you're paying an extra couple $100, I mean, League Pass is $80.
I know, it's
a
ridiculous.
month.
And you know what ticks me off when it comes to, I don't know about basketball because I don't have the League Pass, but with baseball, let's say the Cubs are playing the Guardians, and I want to listen to the Cubs broadcast instead of the Guardians broadcast on TV. I can't.
Right.
Because that's blacked out also.
Yep.
Which is unfair.
It's a joke.
It's so ridiculous. You're preventing fans who want to watch your sport from watching.
Yeah.
Which is
The blackout rules are archaic, stupid, and old.
Dumb.
Get rid of them.
All right. But we're going to spend most of the show, of course, talking about the Browns. So a lot to get to today. We will have Leroy on at 11:30. We will have Aditi on about 12:30.
She's speaking with Browns players right before us, by the way.
That's right.
So we're going to get some direct insight from the CBS sideline reporter for this weekend's game.
That's right. She's doing the game. We'll do fence riders, but in just a moment, we, of course, are going to talk about the fact that Deshaun Watson was back on the practice field. And there are conflicting reports about whether he had zip or no zip on his throws. Let's talk to Anthony.
Zip or no zip?
Hello, Anthony.
Hey guys, before we get into our first topic of the day, I got to remind everybody that you can win big with FanDuel. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's absolutely no better time to get in on the action. You can do so many easy ways to bet. There's a wide range of options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. You guys can go visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
And the FanDuel point spread on the Browns-Cardinals Sunday is 8. Browns are favored by 8. Although, guys, we don't know for sure who's going to be the quarterback for either team.
It's crazy. I said on Tuesday.
Yeah.
When's the last time that on Tuesday of a game week, neither team's announced a starting quarterback? And now it's Thursday, and neither team's announced a starting quarterback. And I'm going to suspect this goes until Friday at a minimum.
Yeah, the Browns could come down to Sunday, maybe even the Cardinals. So as of today, it appears that Clayton Tune is starting for the Cardinals, making his first NFL start. And it appears that P.J. Walker. Now, one thing we do know that we didn't know yesterday during the show is P.J. Walker will start if Deshaun Watson can't go.
Yes.
It will not be DTR. That we know for sure. We don't know what Deshaun Watson's status is. And I got to say, guys, that now listen, if Deshaun Watson is able to play this week or even next week, and he plays well, plays at a winning, capable level, then all the anger that I had and others had over the trade deadline, maybe it was unfounded.
Yeah.
But I'll believe that when I see it, guys, because we saw Deshaun Watson, what's today, Thursday? 11 days ago, 11 days, take the field against the Colts and look like he'd never thrown a football before. Okay? Listen, he's a way better athlete than I am. I grant you that.
Shocker.
But, yeah. But he's a way better athlete than you, too, funny guy.
Fact.
Yeah.
But, and I get it. He's a warrior. He's played through a lot of injuries. Get all that. I can't imagine you could look like that 11 days ago, and whether it's this Sunday in 14 days or next Sunday in 21 days, you're totally fine. I find that impossible to believe. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you guys think?
I think this is something you're going to deal with the rest of the year. And I said it before a couple of weeks ago. I think you're going to be dealing with this on and off from week to week. He could come out and look great in this game, and then come out against Baltimore and get hit, and it can set him back all the way to ground zero. So that's why I think I would disagree with you and say, no, it wasn't unfounded. You are correct. You have to have a backup plan for these things. We hope that Deshaun Watson comes in.
It wouldn't be unfounded. Even if he plays well, then I was complaining about not getting
quarterback. Oh, no.
Okay.
You still should be complaining about that because, there's these injuries. It's football. When is the last time you've seen a quarterback not get hit the rest of the season?
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Every week there's quarterbacks that get hit, and you're like, wow, he got up from that?
Yeah.
Even P.J. Walker.
Last week took a couple shots.
Right, last week. So for me, this is always going to be right below. It's just that thing like, have you ever tried not to throw up, but it's already in your esophagus right here, and it just keeps wanting to come up?
Yeah.
It's just there until you give it up. This is the same thing with Deshaun Watson. It's going to be it's already there. You might as well just go ahead and give it up.
So I've gone back and forth on this a couple of times. And Bernie Kosar, who sat in a chair right next to us if there was a fourth chair, came on this show and said, I had the same injury, and Deshaun, until he gets a full offseason to not throw, not move, surgery or not, to heal, is going to be dealing with this injury from when it happened to the season's end. It's not just going to magically heal in week 12 or 13, regardless of how many weeks he takes off. And the question Anthony asked is, should he start? If he's capable of playing and is healthy enough to play. And I've gone back and forth on this a lot. And I texted in the group chat, even yesterday, I'd wait for Baltimore. Like, they don't need him against Arizona. And then I thought about it. And, Bull, you taught me something on this show. That if you're wrong, it's okay to change your opinion. And I think I was wrong. And I actually think now, if Deshaun Watson's capable of playing against Arizona, I think he needs to play. And here's why. When Deshaun got hurt, he compared his injury to a baseball injury. Pitchers get that injury. It's more of a baseball injury that pitchers suffer than a quarterback injury, and that's more of the prototype to look at in terms of healing recovery. Well, if it happened to McKenzie or Bieber, before pitching for the Guardians again, they go to AA or AAA and have kind of a AAA rehab start to figure out how best to play and pitch through said injury. Arizona's defense ranks 30th against the pass, 29th in EPA per dropback. And next week, you got Baltimore as the number 1 overall defense in football. I would almost look at Arizona as a quote-unquote AAA start for Deshaun Watson. Granted, there's no easy games in the NFL. They're not a AAA team. It's not apples to apples. But even if it's not the full game, even if it's a quarter or a quarter and a half, I think Deshaun Watson has to get out there, see what he can do with his shoulder to get you a real evaluation, because I refuse to believe anything I see in practice. Whether it's a Mary Kay video, a Hayden Grove video, anyone who's putting videos out there in practice. I need to see game reps to believe anything.
Yeah.
And you can't do that before Baltimore unless he gets in the game Sunday against Arizona.
Hayden Grove was out of pocket yesterday.
What did he say?
He's like, there's a zip. The zip is back on Deshaun Watson's throw.
You've been
Hayden, I love you, kid, but you're out of pocket right there.
Hey, I'm going to steal this. I told him, I just texted him right now.
Yeah.
You don't even know who this is. I'm stealing it. I'm just showing you. This is works-cited.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Quincy. I watched your video last night when I was rolling around. I couldn't sleep very much. And I'm going to say this. This is really unconventional, but I thought, I was like, listen, this is a dope concept. I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. I believe, like McNuggets, you can't find out whether or not this man is ready to go based on them practice throws. That practice stuff don't happen.
Yeah. Controlled environment.
What I would do, and I stole it, and works cited, I completely stole this from somebody else's blog, so go ahead and take credit for it, Quincy. He said, when I was watching, he was like, yo, I would put him through a pro day. I would put him, just like regular college quarterbacks in pro days, I would put him in there. He'd have full pads on, and I'd work him out for an hour, making all them throws that you do in pro day.
Which includes, for people who don't know, like the deep, across body.
Deep.
There's no pass rush coming at you, but that's when Zach Wilson.
They get the brooms, they hit you with the brooms, they chase you.
Anthony Richardson hit the ceiling.
Step up and step back and get over it and go through the tire. Listen, them workouts, go ahead.
They're legit.
They're legit. Put him through that. If he can throw the football at a pro day workout to show arm talent, arm strength, arm ability, he can play. But guess what? If he can only make it through half of that and his arm is fatigued, his arm is tired, you can't throw deep outs, you can't do that, well, guess what? You can't play.
That's a good point.
That's a great, hey, listen, shout out to you, Quincy.
That's Quincy, who was on our show.
Yeah, Quincy Carey. Yeah, that was a great,
what is Deshaun's quarterback coach is Quincy also, right?
Quincy Avery.
Oh,
and
Quincy Avery,
Carrier has been on our show.
Quincy Carrier. Okay.
We like Quincy. Good dude.
Yeah, good job at Quincy. I agree. I agree with him too. It is a good idea. Do it today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do it today. I would do that every Thursday, and if he passes, he plays.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, he doesn't. But I think Mike makes a good point. I think the idea of saving him for Baltimore is stupid. Have him, if he passes this test, then play him against Arizona this week. Mm-hmm. And if he can't get through it again, then because to me, if he has to get taken out again in the beginning of the game, then
he's just not ready.
Then he just can't play.
He's just not ready.
He just might not play.
He's just not. Like, that's the thing too. Do you want to? And I think that's a big blow to only his psyche, but the team psyche. Like, if he has to be taken out after 3 or 4 throws after an interception, I mean, what type of damage does that do to his mental psyche and the rest of the team when they see they're like, bro, he ain't ready to play.
And I'm not sure if we ever will get the answer to this, but was he making progress before Indianapolis, and then gets hurt, and then it's a setback?
Right.
Or was
if
it
you had
just
sat him for the Indianapolis game, well, by now, if he played this week, he'd have 6 weeks.
And we don't have an answer to that.
No,
and
we'll never know.
And we won't know. And my
know.
guess is that didn't have a setback. It's just he wasn't ready.
No. And the bottom line is, if you're gonna wait till next week, why? Like another week at this point, is another week gonna make a difference?
And we saw, and this is not a Deshaun knock. This is a quarterback across the league knock. He was rusty last year against Houston after missing a year and a half from football. He was rusty against Cincinnati in week 1, despite having an entire offseason with the team. He came back.
That was as bad a weather.
I'm just saying, but it's not like he stepped in and was right away being good.
Hurt,
we see him against Indianapolis, clearly hurt, but not himself. Joe Burrow missed all of training camp, comes in week 1, bad weather, but he doesn't look the same since, frankly, last week. So I think quarterbacks, naturally, when they miss time, it's the hardest position in sports for a reason. It's very difficult.
I don't think Burrow wasn't good because he was rusty. I think he was not good because he was hurt.
I don't know how to prove it. I think it's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah,
I think it's probably a little bit of both. And the reality is, you could look at a million examples. It's the hardest position in sports. To come back after missing time is not easy for anybody. For even Mahomes, who we haven't seen necessarily miss a significant amount of time and come back. It's just tough. And now from this week to when he got hurt against Tennessee will be 7 weeks, potentially, or Baltimore will be 7 weeks.
Right.
It's a long time to not play football, come back in and be right back to where we expect you to be against Tennessee when you're facing the #1 defense in the NFL in Baltimore. That seems like a recipe for disaster, which is why I flip-flopped literally in less than 24 hours from saying rest him to Baltimore to I need to see him get some game reps against Arizona to at least have some sort of gauge of where we're truly at.
2 hours ago, I recorded my podcast for today, and I predicted that he wouldn't play. And now 2 hours later, I'm convincing myself he's going to play this week. That's the situation we've been in, it feels like, for 2 months.
It is.
And it sucks.
And you know, I don't know if I even agree with it. Like, if he can't play, I think Stefanski is already coming out and said that P.J. Walker's going to play.
Yeah.
And I've kind of flipped on this. I've kind of moved to say if you know, Deshaun Watson can't play and you got DTR, why are you not playing DTR? Like, there seems there's no upside in playing P.J. Walker when you've already announced that this guy was going to be your backup. His ceiling is higher than P.J. Walker. You know what P.J. Walker is. Why would you not be behind the scenes working on getting DTR up to program, up to snuff, up to you know, to make sure that he's ready to play? And I'm not sure that I agree with if he doesn't play. Why is P.J. Walker playing?
I agree. I mean, we talked about both of the last 2 days. I would start. I mean, to me, this is the perfect game
for DTR.
To have DTR play his first game against Arizona. It's
Yes.
the worst team you're going to play all. You know, them and the Bears are the 2 worst teams you're going to play the rest of the year. Like, let him play this game. But for some reason, listen, we said this yesterday. None of us are at practice. Maybe DTR is a total disaster. But if he's that bad in practice, if that's the reason, then why the hell did you plan on him being the backup to begin with? If he's that bad now, well, it couldn't have looked great in training camp. I mean,
Tyvis said yesterday, this is the only thing I could think of as even a possibility, and I disagree with this. But he said the players in the locker room must truly believe in P.J. Walker and be behind him fully. That at this point, if you were to take him out and put DTR in, despite the fact Walker statistically has been the worst quarterback in football when he's played, that their buy-in to take that away from them at this point for DTR wouldn't be worth it. But
that is
I
really
don't
the only
agree
thing
with
that makes
that.
sense.
And I think it's the only thing that's even possible in the grand scheme of things.
I like my grandfather, but I'm not putting no money on him in a fight. You guys are getting, I'm fully behind him. He getting knocked out. What are we going to do?
How old is your grandfather?
Oh, he's deceased.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, he would get. I mean, he's dead. He can't fight anymore.
So I'm behind you, dog. What is that? So that just shows you how much behind really matters in the scheme of things. Like,
I would say I don't agree with it. I was just trying to rationalize what it could be. But, Bull, you watched the videos yesterday of Deshaun Watson throwing.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell watching a video. To me, I didn't think he had any kind of zip. But I'm watching a video. How do you know? It's a controlled environment in practice. You know, this Sunday it's not going to be like bitterly cold, but it's going to be like 50 degrees at game time.
Yeah.
You know, like in there, that's a completely controlled environment. I mean, that didn't look like it had a ton of zip on it. I don't know, but it's hard to tell.
And also, we don't know if he's, throwing the ball at 100%.
Yeah,
if he's
I don't
just,
know.
Lobbing it in. You go through warm-up drills. Gee, you've done this in football. I did it in basketball. Gee, even in Bull and baseball with your kid. Like, when you're warming up with Aaron, he's not ripping it 100 miles an hour from the first pitch. Right. Warming up. You don't know what he's trying to do.
And there's something to be said, like, when you're throwing in practice versus throwing in a game, there's just so many things going on in your head in the game, right? You're worried about getting hit. You're worried about reading the defense. Like, in a situation like this, it's a pitch and catch. And, like, in the game, your body's going to react differently to game situations.
Gee, how many times in a game does a quarterback actually drop back and throw with the proper mechanics as opposed to dropping his arm, trying to get it around the pass rusher?
Man, you dropping gems right now, bro. Hey, listen, I see where you're going at. There's not clean pockets like that.
Very rarely.
Like you're not gonna have a clean pocket. You got to drop down 3/4. You may jump up. Just go look at Patrick Mahomes. Like the way and then you got to find throwing windows. Guys got their hands up. You got to throw around guys, throw through guys, find a window to get the ball where you need to go. And the thing about playing quarterback is, he's throwing off instincts. He's thrown so many times, it's ingrained in his body. So when you're throwing the ball and your motion is your motion, that's why a lot of times we'll say we're going to change his quarterback motion so that he's more efficient and he gets the ball out quicker. It usually doesn't work because they've been throwing that way forever.
That's how you play.
That's how he is. So now you're throwing the ball, and instead of being like, oh, well, I'm just going to let this thing rip, you're sitting there thinking like, oh, I know I can't put my arm in this position, or this position. So I'm going to have to throw. And now you're thinking. And that doesn't help. And now you can't get the strength and the velocity on the ball because you're not throwing it accurately in the way you used to throw it. So that's a very good point. Because
he may feel good throwing over the top in a natural, but if he has to come down a 3/4 throw or a sidearm, and we were going through the all-22 before you got in here, G, and we were watching some of P.J. Walker's throws. we only got to the first half, but he maybe threw 5 normal passes and 10 to 15 on the move on the side.
And with all
more of a baseball thing, and that could re-aggravate the shoulder in a way that's not coming over the top.
And with all you already have on your plate as a quarterback in a game, to now be thinking about the position of your arm, if you're actively thinking about that, there's no way you could play at a high level that way. I just don't see it.
And so as a defensive lineman, you're thinking like this, and I just want people to understand the way the game goes, because I think people sit at home and think everything is rainbows and fairies. They're looking at it like, listen, if I catch you, just let me pick the picture. He's rolling out of the pocket, which he likes to extend plays. He could be even been playing well. Now you're playing well, arm feeling good. Now you're rolling out. You're rolling out the pocket. You're looking to extend the play. He's rolling to his right. He throws the football. Guess what? Somebody hits him from the backside, doesn't know he's coming, and they land on him with all their weight. And it's usually a traditional collarbone injury where you break your collarbone because the quarterback landed with all his weight on that shoulder. All you need is one of those, and that's season. I'm going to let you, there ain't no coming back from that. All of your weight, all of his weight, driving you into the ground, that play happens all the time.
But that could happen if he's 100% healthy in week 17, or it could happen this week against Arizona. Like that doesn't matter, his shoulder. And we keep talking about it may still be hurt, and he's definitely still injured. I still think Deshaun Watson can go out there and, if he does play well. Like, until I see him not be able to throw the ball again.
Well, we just saw it.
But I'm on a week-by-week basis now with Deshaun, because I do think with this injury, he said initially it's a 2 to 6 week time frame.
Yeah.
This is 6 weeks. This is the back end of that. Indy was in the middle. So maybe it's just me basing off injuries I've sustained playing basketball in my life. By the end of the timeline, typically you do feel a lot better than you do in the middle of the rehab process. So until I see Deshaun Watson not be able to throw again, I'm going to be under the assumption that he can't be as bad as he was against Indy. And if there was any team to put him out there against, it's a team with a bad pass rush like Arizona.
And I'm fine with
and
that. And I'm fine with that. But in the end, I'm not going to. I'm the opposite. I'm not going to believe he can play at a high level until I see it.
We're saying the same thing, just backwards.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, who's the kid that used to play for Philadelphia that couldn't shoot no more all of a sudden?
Ben Simmons?
No, the other one.
Batista.
Point guard.
Markelle Fultz.
So Markelle Fultz, right? Number 1 overall pick. This guy got to the league and was like, yeah, I got some rare disease where I can't shoot anymore.
He hurt his shoulder.
And so we've seen athletes completely break down in mechanics and not be able to do certain things. Ben Simmons couldn't shoot no more. We've seen it before with people's short game and when it talks about golf.
You see it in baseball where guys get the yips.
Yeah.
Remember, there's a pitcher on the Rockies now, Daniel Barty, was out of baseball for 7 years because he couldn't throw the ball over the plate.
So when you see, and a lot of that is psychological.
Yeah.
And when you keep bringing somebody back, and here's the thing about Deshaun Watson, he does not have a good enough success banked in his memory bank. I'm a big person on banking successes, right? Because when you're playing bad, you can always revert back and remember, come on, it can't be that bad. I remember how to do this. I just had success doing A, B, and C. He's so far removed from consistent good play that if you put him out there, he's like, is this the new? Is this what it is?
He's got to get his own confidence back.
Yeah, and how long does that take?
It's been about 3 years since he's had consistent good play.
That's crazy. Like that some people's careers have come and gone since then.
Yeah.
That's how long that is.
What's the average lifespan in the NFL? 2.5 years, right?
Yeah.
That's about the last time we saw Deshaun Watson put back-to-back really good games together. We saw a good game against Tennessee.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal against Tennessee. That's the one exception this year. Last season, I don't think you would quantify any of his 6 games as, prime Deshaun Watson. Mm-hmm. So you're going back to the 2020 season where he did put up monster numbers, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. His team was 4-12, but he played well. So.
This should not come down to Sunday, by the way, because the injury, they've talked about it, and Bernie talked about it. It's not he's not the same person, but it's not about pain. It's not about let's wait till Sunday and see if he can play through the pain. It's about can he make the throws, and if he can't make them today, well, he's not going to make them. He can't make them Sunday,
right? Yeah.
And if he can make them today, unless something happens, he should be able to make them Sunday.
Exactly.
So if he can make them today, then he should be the starter.
And if he can't?
And then if something happens between now and then, okay, well, then you go to P.J. Walker. But this should not be a game-time decision Sunday.
Right. And I don't think,
based on the information we have.
And I don't think Stefanski should treat it as a game-time decision.
No.
I think he should be, if you're not ready to go on Wednesday, you're not getting what you need to get between Wednesday and Sunday. So you might as well just say he ain't playing this week.
It seems like the decision should come down today.
And all of
I
that,
hope so.
we want to make them
so.
prepare for 3 quarters. No one does that. Stop. No one does that. That doesn't do anything.
Well, and also, G, we saw it last week, and P.J. Walker had the crucial turnover at the end, and he had 3 turnovers. And I'm not saying he played well, but he got all the reps on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it was the best of his 3 performances.
Yes.
And now we're back to a situation where because Deshaun's up in the air, and we hope Deshaun plays, we could be going into Sunday's game with 1 day of P.J. Walker as quarterback with all the reps if Deshaun doesn't get rolled out today.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen.
But I'm saying we could be in that situation.
We could. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to make a decision today. Even if they don't announce it, I think within the locker room, they got to decide
after
today.
practice or before practice? Well, if it's after practice, then P.J. Walker gets Friday, and then we're good. That's what I'm saying. It could be one practice of legit.
Listen,
you know who the
P.J.
starter
Walker,
is.
you practiced all last week. I don't want to hear any more excuses. You're playing the Cardinals. Do we think there's any chance Kyler Murray's going to play?
I do. I think it's slim, but I think there's.
If you're the Cardinals, if he's ready to, you have to activate him by next Wednesday.
Yeah.
If he's ready to, if you're going to activate him and put him on the bench, why would you do that?
That's
if he's ready to be activated, then you should start him.
I wouldn't play him. Not against the Browns. I'm not trying to.
Okay.
Miles Garrett ain't about to be chasing him around, tackling. No. When we play next week, it's kind of like saying Arizona's like the same thing we saying for the Ravens. No, I'm not bringing him back. Just to be 50%.
Yeah, but the difference is he's, was a good quarterback.
Oh, he's still good.
Yeah.
No. I just think.
Yeah.
I don't want him. You know what it is. He runs around a lot. And for a quarterback who runs around a lot, do you want him being rusty, haven't played, holding on to the
next
football?
Week? I don't even know.
But if we were switching shoes here and Deshaun said, I'm 100% healthy, I want to play, put me
Remember,
in, coach.
he's not, it's not, at this point, he's coming back from an injury, but the injury was a year ago.
Yeah.
He's not still suffering any injury right now.
And if Deshaun said that, and even if
play
it was, Deshaun would play. Yeah, so that's why I think there's a chance. If I'm Arizona, I'd rather, just like you said, wait and err on the side of caution and say, I don't even know who we have next week, but it's not Myles Garrett.
Right.
But if I'm in their shoes and Kyler says, hey, Coach Gannon, you're a rookie. I just got a massive contract. I'm healthy. I'm playing. I don't think Gannon has any choice.
I think if you look at it, I'm going to tell him, look, you're going to get all the days off you can afford. If you ain't allowed to be out there or you actually need to be activated by Wednesday, we're going to wait till Wednesday.
Cardinals are at home next week against the Falcons. Decent defense. But
it's not the Cleveland
and it's
defense.
at home.
Yeah.
And it's the Falcons. Yeah, we're going to wait that out.
I wouldn't even, if you're not going to start him, I wouldn't even have him be the backup.
I leave him at home.
Because what's the point if Tune gets hurt?
They got a veteran journeyman, Jeff Driscoll, on their practice squad. They can make him the backup quarterback this week. All right, let's talk to Leroy. We got Leroy ready. Right?
Yeah, before we bring Leroy in, though, guys, I want to remind everybody that you can score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there is absolutely no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So you guys can go visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
Leroy.
What's up? It's Rick and Q.
What's going on with your fantasy team? You got to set your lineup.
Dude, look, I was done after week 1 when
self-checkout.
3 of my starters got hurt, and then I tried to go on the waiver wire, and it was like doo-doo. I'm like, all right, I'm done.
Hey, Leroy, listen, I was watching the 94 highlights. You didn't tell me you was getting screen game like that. I didn't know you was getting. I didn't know your screen game was like that, Leroy. I see you.
That's all I did. No, seriously, I ran screens and check downs and all that. I had more catches for a guy that didn't have any plays designed for him, thanks to Bernie. Right?
Crazy. I was watching it. I'm watching the season. I'm like, this guy Leroy is just getting the ball I'm like, how many screens they throw a game?
from all different positions, all Because you keep in mind, back then, you could do that wham block.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So I would basically go in motion like I was going to wham block and just run all the way to the other side and catch a screen. And it just blew everybody's mind.
Hey, look, you know how many rules have been changed since you've been playing? They took the whole playbook. They like, that was my bread and butter.
In Leroy's second season in the league, he had 9 receiving touchdowns.
That's
He's a
crazy.
monster.
That's crazy.
A fantasy.
Yep.
fantasy
That was your
monster.
best year catching passes statistically. You had 48 catches, 567 yards. That's almost 12 yards per reception.
That's kind of crazy.
Yep.
great.
And I
9
didn't. And keep in
touchdowns.
mind, no plays were designed for me, except one game. Except one game, and it's the craziest thing in the world. Here's what my job was for an entire game. Right? I don't care what the play is. I don't care what the pass pattern is. I don't care. Here's what I was told. You start behind the quarterback, right? You look and see what side Reggie White is on. You then motion over there and chip him. I don't care what the play is, whether it's a run, a pass, or anything. For an entire football game. So here's what happened. So we were running, I had a pass pattern, and we went through this during the week. I said, what if that guy comes off the slot? You chip Reggie. Yelled at me. So I chipped Reggie. The slot guy went right by me. I turned around. Bernie threw me the ball, 65.
That's crazy.
And everybody's like, wow, look how they did that slow release for him. I'm like, what is that?
That wasn't a slow release.
I have no idea. That's not what my job was. My job was to get behind the quarterback, look around, there's Reggie White, and then motion over there and chip him. That's it for a whole entire football game. I had no carries, no nothing.
Yeah, Leroy, in his second, third, and fourth years in the league, had more receiving yards than rushing yards.
Yes.
Full threat.
No, it wasn't. Please.
By the way, I didn't remember. Leroy,
Huh?
I didn't remember that in '96 you played for 3 teams. I knew you played for Baltimore, Minnesota, but I didn't know you played for Carolina that year too.
Yeah. I wore 4 uniforms in a 3-month stretch.
Oh, who was the 4th team? You didn't play a game in the regular season.
The Browns moved to Baltimore.
Gotcha.
Then I went to Carolina, and then I went to Minnesota. And the funny thing, when I was in Carolina, we went and played Minnesota, and 2 weeks later, I was on Minnesota's team.
So did you get picked in the expansion draft for Carolina?
No. We were their first year was our last year in Cleveland.
Okay.
Right. So it was crazy because, you went to Baltimore, and I thought, okay, new coach, let's get this going, or what have you. And I guess they just wasn't having it. And to this day, let me tell you, I'm not a petty guy, right? But to this day, I know who they replaced me with.
Wow.
And my last words when I left Baltimore was this. Oh, I don't know if it's a mistake or not, but y'all can find out. Do your research. In 5 years, look at my career and look at Van Morris's career.
Wow. I forgot about Van Morris. Wow.
Yep.
That is
so in 5 years, when it was 5 years. How about this? In 5 years, I came back and played in Cleveland with Minnesota in the first preseason game. I still have I scored a touchdown. I still have it, right? And they go, "How does it feel to be in Minnesota?" And the only thing I said was, "How's Van Morris doing?" That's it.
petty.
Like listen. And my only problem with people in football, you can complain about a lot of things about me, but you can't complain about how hard I play. And that's got to mean something to somebody. Mm-hmm. You can put whatever twist you want on it, but a running back playing hard and taking that pounding for a whole football game is hard to come by.
Yeah.
So you go ahead They gave Bam the big money, brought him in. He was there for 2 seconds. And so every time I put on that Vikings uniform, I look at the numbers and say, I'm still playing. I wonder if they could have used that. Going about my business.
Well, Leroy, speaking about running backs, Pierre Strong had his kind of breakout game for the Browns.
He looked good.
This past weekend against Seattle, and we had this discussion all week, and I'm curious what you think. Is he the best healthy running back on the Browns right now?
You're assuming Jerome Ford is banged up, right?
No, I was even counting Ford in that discussion.
We like him better.
I like him a little better.
I would say this. They're different runners, right? And that Pierre Strong is more of a downhill guy, and Jerome Ford, they have almost put him in a situation. Hold on. They put him in a situation where he does a lot of the stuff around the outside. So I would say that. I knew it was coming.
Bless you.
That is part of the situation with that. And so it looks better because Pierre Strong is doing all the downhill stuff.
Yeah.
But so that's why it looks that way. So I would say they do more Pierre Strong's more like Kareem Hunt does, right? And they do Jerome Ford stuff more like they do those wide receivers.
Right.
So it's hard to compare. But I would definitely, if I had a choice, I like what Pierre Strong does up the middle. I just think that they should have did it more at the end of the game.
Fair.
Now listen,
we've had this conversation a lot, right? And it's fool. You know what it is? Coaches get caught up in fool's gold, right?
Okay.
So remember earlier during the game, they had them third and shorts, second and shorts, and whatever, and they rolled P.J. Walker out, and he make that throw. Boom, boom, boom. Consistent, right? So you get those moments in the game. Now, you know the game calls for you run as much time off the clock as you can, and you don't put nobody in harm's way, right? And then you kick it down the field, and then you go, here's what we got. Our strength against whatever you put out there. Right? That's what I thought was going to happen. They throw a couple of passes, the clock doesn't run. Now you give Seattle the ball on a turnover with the ball and a timeout. So it's not ideal, right? But I just wouldn't have put that offense in that situation when too many times we look at the Browns offense and say one of the strengths of the team is running the football, and we get to those critical moments in the game and they throw a damn pass. If I'm going out, I'm going out swinging. That's the way most coaches think that way. If I'm going out with what I do best. If you stop it, good on you. But we never got to that point because they threw passes. But that's near.
Now, in fairness, the defense should have made a stop, and they could have still won the game.
Again,
Get it done.
Again, yes. And that's the part that kind of gets lost in all this.
Yep.
Is that you still, have a defense who's the best in the league, and they should have came up with a stop. Right?
Yep.
And so that, and to make it worse, pass the ball right down the field, which is right in your wheelhouse.
That's right. Hey, Leroy.
You see? So yeah.
How tough, the Browns are getting the worst quarterback play in the league, right? Deshaun did not play well. I mean, he played well in the Titans game. Outside of that game, they've gotten terrible quarterback play. P.J. Walker, in his career, 6 touchdowns, 18 turnovers. This year, 1 touchdown, 6 turnovers. And yet they've somehow won 2 out of 3. When you're the other players on the team, or especially if you're the defense, I know you played offense, but if you're the defense and you play and you're like, we're playing really well each week, it's hard. I mean, does it wear down the defense knowing that you have a quarterback that can't really win a game for you? Or is that not
at
fair?
all? Not at all. What about when the offense had to score 39?
Yeah, fine. Same thing.
But that's what team football is. Okay. You do what you got to do to win the game, right? If you know your offense is struggling, I remember this was 2001. I want to say the year that Baltimore won the Super Bowl. They went 5 weeks and didn't score an offensive touchdown.
Right.
And won the Super Bowl that year. I don't want to hear it. You do whatever you can to win games. Every game's different. Every game's going to present itself differently. But you got to do what you got to do to win the game. If that means no offense and all defense, so be it. If that means no defense and all offense, so be it. The sign of a Super Bowl champ or a sign of a contender is those teams that can win in a multitude of ways. So right now you're telling me that this team can only win a game one way? We've seen them win a number of ways. You just got to find a way to get it done. Whatever's going on that day, you got to find a way to get it done. Now, from a coaching perspective, you can help with that to some extent and try to keep your guys out of harm's way. And I'm not saying, look, I've liked some of the decisions that P.J. Walker has made at times, right? And what do you do about hitting a guy in the face with a football? Right? There were guys open. That being said, like what do coaches say? There's 3 things that can happen in the passing game and 2 of them are bad.
Yep.
I don't ever want to be in that situation with a young quarterback that has 6 touchdowns and 18 turnovers. Right? So why put him in it?
Yeah.
Get out of this as quick as you can. Punt it, get him deep, and then go look at Schwartz and say, go get him.
Yeah. Before we ask another question, let me just give you this update. Deshaun Watson is speaking as we speak. He was asked about playing Sunday. He said, quote, "I'm not even sure. Just following the medical." Said he felt good after yesterday's practice, quote, "Part of the process, part of the protocol." So
it's really here.
Either he's not saying or he doesn't know if he's starting yet.
Here, let me say this about his injury. It's really tough to get a good idea of what you can or can't do because you're not doing football game day stuff, right? So you can go out there and practice and warm up and throw 20 or 30 balls in your 2 7-on-7 and team drills, right? You can do that. But that's not what happens on Sunday. So what you try to do is build on that. The other thing that you have to realize is this. He ain't falling on it, getting hit on it, or anything like that.
Right.
So that's another complication that doesn't really play into it. But I do know, and everybody that I've talked to said, as far as throwing the football, that is one of the most painful things to have. Because you don't know if you lift your arm, whether you're going to have the strength to throw it 40 yards or 4 yards. And that's the chance you take every time you rear up to throw the football. So I don't know what healthy is going to be because he can go a whole week without feeling any pain and then during the course of the game try to rip one, and now his arm feels like it's going to fall off. I don't know what people think. What the hell you think partial tear means?
Yeah.
We talked about it with Bernie.
So let's stop making this, about, he should be out there playing, or if he can go today. It's a tough injury. It's hard to navigate through because you can't simulate what you're going to be doing on Sunday. So if you try to do that on Wednesday, you could possibly lose it for 2 weeks because now it's inflamed and sore for another 2 weeks. So what you try to do is get him to the point, build up to Sunday, and then see how it feels on Sunday. That's all you can do with this injury because I promise you, in the offseason, he may need surgery.
Well, Leroy, what kind of...
And nobody wants to hear that, but that's the reality of that injury.
Well, Leroy, what does that do, though, for the rest of the team, potentially showing up to a game on Sunday? And you don't know if Deshaun's going to start, PJ's going to start. You haven't got the reps in practice. We saw it against Baltimore the first time with DTR, and that did not go well. So is that a bigger concern than maybe we're all taking into account for?
I think everybody's more prepared now because here's the problem, okay? Here's the thing that messed this whole thing up. These words. You ready?
Medically
He's cleared to play.
Yeah.
Right. Once that was said, now you got teammates, you got defense, You got offense, you got coaches, you got fans. Everybody's saying, why isn't he playing? He made $230 million. He's cleared to play. And now 4 weeks later, we're seeing what his actual injury was because they didn't say right away, right? They made it sound like he had a little shoulder boo-boo. Now all of a sudden, a month later, you're hearing, oh, he's got a tear, and we don't know how he's going to respond. How about leading with that, so that everybody understands what this man is going through to try to get back on the football field? That in itself would lend to a better in locker room situation. You see, so it's going to be tough. I don't know how much he's going to be able to do because, again, like I tore my rotator cuff and played a year on it. And I couldn't lift my arm above my shoulder. And that was in my left arm. So I can't imagine any quarterback having any type of rotator cuff injury and trying to throw a football. So people need to understand that we don't know. You don't know what he's going to be able to do. And the scary thing is as a player, Deshaun Watson doesn't know. And that's scary to everybody, even him, because he can't answer a bunch of questions that people want answers for because he doesn't know.
Well, Leroy, I would caution Deshaun Watson on trying to answer questions from people who have never been hurt, had a hangnail, got punched in the face, never been in a street fight, never put their hand in the dirt, and they go to work from 9 to 5 and still be calling off because they got a cough and cold. We're not talking to those people. I think one thing that's a little frustrating to me is you came on this air last year and you said something about the Cleveland Browns' identity. The frustrating part about it is, even though they don't have a Deshaun Watson, even though they don't have their franchise quarterback or Nick Chubb, you still can see the seeds in the foundation and the building blocks of a dominant run game, and they've just never quite accepted what they are. Just if you accept it, they could win games right now as is with P.J. Walker, DTR, and the run game. It's crazy.
You know who's accepted it? You know who's accepted it? The 49ers. Mm-hmm. This is who we are. Come get some, right? This is the way this Cleveland Browns team is presented to us, both offensively and defensively, especially up front, right? They've bolstered that defensive line. Look at what that line does, right? So everybody kind of has an idea of who and what this team is, except for the people that matter.
Except what?
Except for the Browns.
Except for the people that matter.
The Browns are 2-1 in their last 3. The Niners are 0-3, so I don't know about that.
Well, they've got a lot of injuries, though.
Like, so do the Browns.
But not at what they do best.
The Browns' quarterback's hurt. Yep,
you said the Browns run the ball best, and they lost Nick Chubb.
They lost Nick Chubb.
And have they slowed down running the football?
Yes.
Like
no,
the numbers?
because of lack of doing it.
No, they've run the ball a ton the last 2 weeks. What are you talking about?
Nobody's going to be as good as Nick Chubb. We understand that. But
the Browns have been a middle-of-the-road running team since Nick Chubb got hurt, and they've run the ball a ton. The last 2 weeks, they've run like 60 times.
More.
They need to.
More than that. But you guys are both saying they're not doing it. They are doing it.
No. Once again, situational.
That was one play.
So one play can cost
the defense. Stop them. And end the game.
One play.
Okay. Is it easier to stop them at midfield or stop them inside the 20?
What's that?
Is it easier to stop them at midfield or stop them?
Well, you say that as if it was a guaranteed first down on a running play. We don't know that.
No, Leroy saying if they had to punt.
Yeah. So if you give
so while you saying why you saying they ran it, they run it plenty enough?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I say that game could have been different if they ran it one more time.
Yep.
We'll never know. If the defense would have stopped them.
But we have this conversation a lot. We have this conversation a lot.
A whole lot.
where at the end of a game the damn clock is stopped.
Leroy.
For no reason.
They're 4-3 with the worst quarterback play in the league. I can't complain about the coach.
Sure you can.
I'm not complaining. Listen, nobody has been given giving flowers to Stefanski more than me. Because as much as everybody gets on him, I say you better give him credit for this, right? You better give him credit for Jacoby Brissett having his best year as a pro. You better give him credit because guess what? This team in this locker room is different, okay? Yeah. For whatever reason. It's not the same old Browns the way they were looking, who's our leader, disgruntled. Everybody in there for themselves. This is the first time in a long time they kind of actually look like they're playing as a team. Right? Where nobody's looking frustrated and stuff like that. But that being said, if you have Bull, let me ask you this.
Yeah, me.
See,
talk to this man. Talk to his
soul.
By the way, I thought they should have ran on that play too. I did.
If you have the worst quarterbacking in the league, why would you leave it up to the quarterback?
Hey, listen, I don't disagree. I would have. I hear you. I said on Monday too I would have run the ball there. I don't think it's the most egregious mistake a coach has ever made, as some want to make it seem. But I would have run the ball there too. But in the end, the defense still had the opportunity to stop them, and they failed. Even if you stop them for a field goal, you can go to overtime. But I agree with you. Correct. I would have run the ball in that situation. Yes.
All right. I'm just saying. Like,
see how they agree with you, Leroy. They don't want to agree with me. See, I'm Duke.
No, I said it Sunday. I said it Sunday.
I mean, move my
I said it Sunday on that play.
Hey, you got see, Bush. You don't know how to do it. See, I hit him like them spam callers. Is your electric bill over $100? You know what I'm talking about? So I hit him. I say, hey, Bull, you saying they got the worst quarterback in the league, right? Right? Why won't you run it? See, get him. So you gotta play the game, baby.
I hear you. Hey, listen, I'm with you on that play. I just disagree that they haven't run the ball enough in general. But on that play, I agree with you.
Here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Is that the only thing in that moment that is your friend is a running clock. Now, it was right around 2 minutes. It would have stopped anyway.
Yeah.
Okay? But the way you did it, you gave them one play with no timeout, with one timeout and the 2 minute. Mm-hmm. So you gave them an extra timeout. You see what I'm saying?
No, it would have been a 2 minute warning either way. It would have been
a 2 minute warning, Leroy.
But you should have run the ball. In that situation, you should have run the ball.
Leroy, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say goodbye. But you got something else to say? Go ahead.
No, I ain't got nothing else to say.
All right. Let me give you this real quick before you go. Who you got? Kansas City, Miami this week. Who's winning that game?
I got Miami, and here's why. I just think their offense at this moment is more explosive. But I will say this. This is one of the best defenses they'll face all year. And I know because they have Patrick Mahomes, we ignore that. Their defense is really good, especially up front. Yeah. So I'm scared that Tua might get a bunch of balls batted because Chris Jones is a monster, right? And so I just hope they move him a little bit. But I think offensively, they're more explosive than Kansas City right now. Kansas City methodically moves the ball down the field and haven't scored a lot of points lately, to be honest with you. So if it gets to that point, I think Miami could run away with it.
Wow. Leroy, good stuff, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Leroy.
All right, guys.
Always good chatting with Leroy. And, we heard him talk about Deshaun Watson. We're going to get to fence riders in just a second, Anthony. But we heard Leroy talk about Deshaun Watson's shoulder. And we heard Bernie, who had, I'll say the similar, maybe even the same injury, talk about the shoulder. And that just, again, goes back to the point of how did you not address a backup option? Because as we've alluded to, and as Leroy just said there, he may look good in practice.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Game reps are the only thing I'll buy.
Even if he plays well at times in the game, he could look great on one play. The next play, he just doesn't have it in his shoulder.
Bernie said it was throw to throw. That some throws would feel great, and then all of a sudden you go back to throw a 15-yard out, and you can't throw the ball more than 6 yards.
And that's what they're going to have to deal with now the rest of the year.
And this might be off the beaten path, but you know what the frustrating part in our world is the fact that you can have experts who've done it, dedicated their whole life to it, played in it, had the same injury. But yet and still, there are people that are in your fan base that believe they'll disregard all that information. Mm-hmm. We brought you two professionals that, and they're not Cincinnati Bengals or they're not the key Chiefs. We brought you two guys that you cheer for,
that bleed brown,
that bleed brown and orange, that told you what the injury is. But yet and still, you believe that your own opinion is on the same par as theirs. Why would you not
Well,
just...
we have a lot of people these days that apparently do their own medical research. Gee, we've seen that for a couple of years now. They're experts on vaccines. They're experts on everything. So
it's crazy.
But you know what's contributed to that?
Misinformation. And then Browns gave misinformation at the beginning of this injury, which now opened the floodgates up to any idiot that wants to say, oh, I think he's just not playing because of the money.
The Browns did this themselves.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they did it themselves.
And what's added to it also is Brady Quinn's comments.
Yep.
And, oh, my God.
Hanford Dixon's
comments, yes.
Yep. So
especially Hanford.
Yeah.
Hanford should have known better. Brady Quinn, whatever. He's got his thing. But Hanford should have known better.
Yeah, and you can't.
That's a bad job out of him.
And you plugged in. You could have went and talked to him. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. You wanted a Ring of Honor dudes, right? I don't know if he's in it or what, but he's a well-known guy in the community.
He's a Browns legend.
Yeah.
He could get his contact information and talk to him.
Yeah.
So for me, I just think that plays a huge role in how all of this thing is swirling and just keep going. And it's like, man, and when I say this don't happen to other teams, like think about it. The Joe Burrow thing, it was big, right? It was never a point where we thought Joe Burrow didn't want to play, and he had a contract on the line.
Well, he was playing, though.
He was playing.
He was playing poorly at first, but he was playing,
but
right?
it wasn't it was never.
Oh, you mean in training camp?
Yes, it was never a thing like, oh, he's trying to protect himself.
There were some rumblings from national media coming, oh, is he holding out here, which I never thought. But you didn't have any former Bengals come out and say,
no. Boomer Esiason didn't jump on the airways and be like, Joe Burrow needs to play.
Right.
We're about to have the 49th different quarterback start a game this year. And the only one who's been questioned is Deshaun Watson as to whether they're really hurt or not.
In fairness, we don't know that for sure because we're not following other teams as closely.
Oh, for the Browns, you mean?
I just mean in general, like
and let's face it, a lot of the questioning is because of the off the field stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
if it were not for the off the field stuff and the fact that he didn't want to play in Houston, that's reality.
Yeah. I'm just painting the big picture.
Yeah.
This is not the only quarterback situation that's had some topsy-turvy roads this year. The Giants went from Danny Dimes to Tyrod Taylor to now Tommy DeVito. That's been a whole catastrophe.
But
I'm just saying.
He doesn't get to be called Danny Dimes.
Yeah, he's
not worthy of a nickname.
But my point is, it's not the only team who's played multiple quarterbacks this year, but this is the only one where we've questioned, at least to my knowledge, is the quarterback really hurt when he tore something?
I don't think anybody legitimate is questioning that. Who's legitimate questioning?
There's a lot of
Hanford
people.
Dixon.
Hanford screwed up. I mean, he made a mistake.
There's
Brady
a lot.
Quinn's a clown show.
That's alternative motive. There's a lot of people that if you didn't like 6 or 7 things with Deshaun Watson that happened in the past, we all know what they are. This is just a legal opportunity.
Right, it's a way to
and you can say who can question it. I don't know specifics, but I know that Tom Pelissero and Adam Schefter both tweeted out, it's a real injury 4 weeks
which
in.
Is weird.
And when the national reporter of that stature has to tweet out, real injury for the 4th week into a situation, then enough people are questioning it to where it has to be.
It is what it is. All right, let's get to Fence Riders, Anthony. Go ahead.
Yeah, before we get to Fence Rider, guys, I just want to remind everybody that you can score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there really is no better time to get in on the action, guys. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So you guys can visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to learn more and kick off the NFL season right. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. And we actually do have some tickets that I forgot to mention in the first hour here. Coming from our boy Mark Scott. He turned a $5 parlay into, I believe, $144. It's a 4-leg parlay that he hit. So that could be you if you use FanDuel Sportsbook.
Also, before we do Fence Riders, I just want to go through a couple more Deshaun quotes.
Okay.
Just real quick so we can fill in everybody. Deshaun admitted he, quote, jumped the gun by deciding he was ready to play against the Colts and is now saying he must listen to the experts until he's technically ready to play.
That's interesting.
And we'll definitely talk about that a little more in depth tomorrow. I want to actually hear the quote and exactly all his words as opposed to just seeing it. Zach Jackson tweeted out that, I'll pull it up again, that he's taking it day by day essentially. Watson, of course I want to play, but as long as we're on the same page as an organization, I'm willing to do whatever is best for this team. It's a step-by-step, day-by-day process. He says he feels on track. Throwing was part of the process, but not an indication he will actually play on Sunday. He's just listening to the medical staff, going day by day, and doing whatever they ask and require of him to do to get back on the field. The big thing was he admitted he jumped the gun, and those were his words, by playing against the Colts.
And the bottom line is when a quarterback of Deshaun, like we could say they should sit him. We said the same thing with Baker. The bottom line is when a quarterback the stature of Deshaun Watson says, I'm good to go,
he plays.
The coach lets
he plays.
He plays.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think he's showing some signs of growth, if he's being honest.
By admitting that.
By admitting, hey, I made a mistake. I think it's interesting that he said, I made a mistake. Maybe in a way he's trying to tell everybody, hey, all this nonsense about I'm having a beef with the Browns, we're good. In a way, he's helping Kevin Stefanski with these comments.
We'll psychoanalyze that comment more when we can actually listen to it as opposed to just reading a little
fair.
quote. So tomorrow we'll definitely do a deep dive
do you
into
agree
that.
with that? That he's kind of backing Stefanski, or are you not buying that?
Well, no, I think he's come to he's come back around. I think when Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry said what they said, it put extra necessary pressure on him to jump back in quicker. And when he did and got hurt, they probably all sat down afterwards. After all three of them was like, yeah we kind of handled that terribly.
Yeah.
Let's figure out a plan in which we can just insulate you on that one. Yeah. And then, now he's saying, hey, I tripped. I'll take responsibility for it. I shouldn't have been out there. And you've heard Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry kind of say the same thing about them throwing timetables around early on when they necessarily didn't know.
Stefanski, in the last 2 weeks, has not given any timetables at all. Nothing. And I think it feels like they are on the same page right now.
And hopefully we get an answer to who will be starting at some point this afternoon. That's the goal.
No.
And let's do a little fence rider.
All right, Anthony. Go ahead.
All right, guys. So our first fence rider up is, let me pull it up here real quick. Will the Browns defense get 2 or more turnovers? So our guys out here on the panel, Mike, Bull, G, you all said yes. Earl back here and Jason said no, and then Earl and Jason said yes as well, and then Tyvis actually is the lone man on the no side.
I'll give you my logic. We'll move this. Move through this pretty quickly. We all agree. They forced 4 turnovers against Indy. They forced 2 against Seattle, and there's a chance they're going up against a rookie quarterback making his first start on the road against this defense. It's hard to predict turnovers, but in the last 2 weeks they've been very good in that category. If you're telling me Clayton Tune's a quarterback, I like my chances.
The Browns have a good defense that was not forcing turnovers early. Last couple of weeks they have been. You mentioned it's a rookie quarterback. I mean, rookie quarterbacks turn the ball over, generally.
Yeah.
I expect there to be two turnovers in this game.
Oh, they're going to get 2. You give me 2. Like, this is a game that you get nice on. This is one of them games where you'd be like, oh, I'm patting my steps. If you're Myles Garrett, you're like, look.
It's a DPOY game.
That's right.
You need about 5 to win this game.
I can't remember because I'm going to make this comment unless we do. But do we have a P.J. Walker question in this game?
No, I don't think we have any quarterback questions because we
didn't
weren't
put
sure who was starting.
Yeah.
Okay, but so let me make this comment now. If P.J. Remember, G wasn't here because he wasn't feeling well Monday and Tuesday. But on Monday and Tuesday, we were like, it felt like P.J. Walker had a decent game for him, and his numbers were still hideous.
Yeah.
Under 50% completion, 3 turnovers, and it still felt like a decent game. Like, that's how bad he's been. If he can't have a real decent game against Arizona, then he's never going to have a decent game.
Then we have an issue.
Yeah. Well, we already have an issue.
That's the way the human mind distorts. Like it's like the Mandela effect. Like we feel like, oh man, he threw for 4. No, he actually never threw for that many yards.
Yeah.
You just made yourself feel better about a terrible situation by pointing out the good things.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's even like on the contrary. Deshaun's game against Tennessee was very good. It was 289 and 2 touchdowns. It wasn't like he rewrote the record.
No. He had a good game.
It was a very good game, and that's not a knock on him.
We even went back and we looked at how many times Baker threw for 3 touchdowns or more.
It was 8.
It was a whole lot.
Yeah. Sometimes mentally you can distort how good or how bad a performance is to warp it into whatever you want it to be. And Deshaun played very good against Tennessee. I'm not saying he didn't. But it wasn't a record book record performance. What's number 2?
Anthony.
All right, so number 2, with the trading of DPJ, will Cedric Tillman record a catch this weekend? All of you out on there said yes, except for G, and then Earl also said yes with Tyvis and Jason. What are our overall expectations for Cedric Tillman this weekend?
I don't know that you need to specify us, Anthony. You just,
He ain't catching no ball. Like, what you mean?
You don't think so?
No. Listen, you know how long it takes to get in. This is like the unemployment line.
G is right. I'm flip-flopping. I'm going with G.
I'm going to tell y'all why you're both wrong.
You ever get in a line for something free and you be like, dang, it's this many people. You're like, it ain't worth it. You know how far back Cedric Tillman is in line to get a catch? He has David Bell got to get in line. We have not seen has Marquise Goodwin caught a ball yet besides the end around.
Yeah, he's like 3 catches for
not many.
5 yards, yeah.
Yeah, they have much of a passing game. They've run the ball like 100 times the last 3 weeks.
Yes.
They ain't get no catch.
Here's why Cedric Tillman's going to have a catch. I said this on Behind the Glass last night. I'm not fully committed to this theory, but it's a working theory. I think the Browns front office has an issue admitting their mistakes. I do. And to prove that trading DPJ and not bringing anything else back was the right idea, they're going to force feed the ball to Cedric Tillman.
That's nonsense.
He's going to have
you're buying fan propaganda right now.
4 targets and 2 catches on Sunday.
And
if a third pass from P.J. Walker was on target, he'd have 3 catches. They may only go for 4 yards. They may be behind the line of scrimmage.
He's going to run 5
routes. They're going to force feed Cedric Tillman the ball.
I'm flip-flopping. He's running 5 routes.
Did I get you to flip-flop to my side,
He's going to have 1 target, no catches.
No, he's not going to get no catches. Listen, that's propaganda. The fans will tell you, once again, make yourself feel better about losing an asset for free.
Yeah.
They say, oh, well, now this opens up all this imaginary room on the roster for Cedric Tillman to get his funky off. He about to ball out.
DPJ ran 31 routes on Sunday.
Earl and Tyvis were out of pocket on Wednesday. By the way, it's my favorite expression. I use it all the time.
He started using that like salt.
Yeah. Earl and Tyvis were out of pocket by saying the team is not any worse with DPJ. That was. I was really thinking about that overnight. How bad a take that was.
Yes.
He just marinated.
They lost.
The man had 800 yards last year.
Right.
And now we're just throwing everything he's done. He's been before this year. He had been a valuable member of the Browns offense.
Watch this. He is the reason you wouldn't go get DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, not me, but that was yes.
That was everybody's reason.
Yes.
He was the reason. Don't touch the receiving core.
Yeah.
This receiving core is going, and then you just get rid of him.
And because the Browns quarterback play has been trashed this year, and he hasn't put up any numbers, all of a sudden he has no value at all.
0 value.
No. The Browns screwed that up. They gave away a player that had not a ton of value, but that has some value, and they gave him away for nothing.
And he does the right things. He doesn't have misassignments. He catches it when he throws it to him.
He's a good blocker.
He's a good blocker. So I can't. They traded him for Uncrustable. I don't.
For an Uncrustable, yeah.
They just
and a stale Uncrustable.
Those are the worst.
Everything you guys said is true and right.
Yeah.
And Cedric Tillman's still having 2 catches this week.
All right.
So number 3.
He's standing on.
I'm going to be right. I'm going to be right.
Earl he's taught you one thing. You stand on it.
I'm going to be. Listen, I genuinely believe the Browns have an issue admitting mistakes. That's why.
You got to stand on that, fam.
Earl's going to be standing by himself on the next one.
It's going to, yeah.
What did Earl say?
Earl's on the other side of the fence by himself on this next one. So he's
what did he say? I didn't hear anything.
He said, I got to stand on it.
I said, you got to stand on that, fam.
Cedric Tillman's going to have 2 catches this week. I am.
Go ahead, next.
Almost certain enough to a point I'm going to put a whale bet in on his over catches. A whale
All right, so number 3 here is will Elijah Moore score his first touchdown of the season? And Earl is by himself on an island with yes. Everybody else said no. I'm also going no on this one.
This passing game is just, you get rid of DPJ, the passing game is lit.
Yeah, right? We got Tillman making grabs. We got Elijah Moore in the end zone.
2 catches for 10 yards.
Damn.
This is what we need to do from start. We should have just
I think the Browns are only going to complete 12, 13 passes in the game, period.
That's it.
They're going to run the ball, and they're going to have a lead. They're not going to have to throw the ball at all.
And
the Cardinals shouldn't score in this game, or should score. I got it 24-27, a 10 or 7 or 9 or something like that.
Unless you counting Hail Mary back shoulders and slants, there's no other routes that we running or we complete. Have you seen any other route completed?
I have.
What?
And it wasn't completed. But Stefanski dialed up his Elijah Moore's going to get wide open in the red zone play last week. And guess what? It worked. He was wide ass open.
He was.
And PJ
open.
Walker threw to Amari Cooper, so now that's on
so
tape.
all of a sudden, he's going to make good throws now?
No, I'm saying they used their Elijah Moore get wide ass open play already. Now it's on tape. Arizona's going to prepare for it, which means he doesn't have any more Elijah Moore get wide open in the red zone plays. So no, he's not going to score a touchdown. Earl, tell us why we're wrong. See, you know what I'm saying?
I know that
wide ass open.
The mesh play was open. The mesh was there. He was open. That's touchdown.
I mean, I just feel like eventually something got to give, right? Elijah Moore eventually will have to find an end zone this season.
Why?
I think that this. Wait. I think that this is an opportunity for him to be able to do so. Even though the pass offense has not been what it's been, PJ Walker found an end zone passing the ball last week. Maybe he can do it again this week. So I just don't believe that he's going to go the whole season without catching a touchdown. So let's make it this week.
If you had to bet the rest of the season, Elijah Moore, 3 touchdowns or 0, what would you bet?
3 is a steep climb, bro.
I think
I ain't trying to diss him or not because it sounds like I'm just trying to be funny. But
no, you're right. No, that's
3 is a lot, man.
I think 0 is impossible.
Why? I give you a much better receiver that had 0 touchdowns last year.
Deontay Johnson.
Deontay Johnson is 15 times better than Elijah Moore.
He's better than Elijah Moore, but
way better.
The only way is he got to.
Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun's not healthy, and we're playing PJ. That's actually a really good question.
You know how many games Elijah Moore's gone in a row without a touchdown going back to last year?
How many?
13.
I was going to guess 12.
And in fact, he has 1 touchdown in his last 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. He scored 1 touchdown in his last 22 games.
All right.
1 in 22.
All right, Bull. You didn't.
It's impossible for him to have 0. Bull. He has 1 in his last 22.
Bull's pouring the gravy on these dudes right now. This is a bad. 22.
I'm on both sides here.
I am too.
Give me the percentage chance of Elijah Moore scoring a touchdown this week.
Less than 3.
I'm saying like 1.5.
No.
I'd say 10.
Because they don't, if they're in the red zone, they're not going to throw the ball. Like my wife laughs hysterically because she doesn't understand the game that much. But every time that the Cleveland Browns move the ball on pass interference calls, she hysterically laughs like, we're fleecing them. They give us call again.
Your impression of your wife is my favorite impression anyone does.
By the way, when are these official birthday invitations going out? Are you still doing that?
Yeah, I am. I got to get the flyers together. I got to get, What
is that, Saturday night?
Yeah, Saturday
night. Is it at your house or is it going to be somewhere?
It's at my house.
I know a couple guys who could design some flyers for you. Gee, you just let me know.
Yeah, listen,
His name's Anthony.
Now
they won't be spelled correctly.
Earl, we got to get. Hey, if Elijah Moore scores a touchdown this week, Earl is getting bragging time. He's got to be able to get his bragging time.
Also, if Cedric Tillman gets a catch, I'm stomping all over.
No, forget you. We'll give it to Earl. Earl gets double time if Cedric Tillman gets the catch. And Elijah Moore scores a touchdown.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Earl, it's always good to be on the right side of history. Don't worry.
Go ahead. Next, Anthony.
All right, so number 4, will Marquise Brown have a 100-yard game with a rookie quarterback? All of you said no to this. This was one of our couple unanimous.
This is a stupid question. Who came up with this question?
This was a combo between Mike and I.
This is a dumb question.
I said even if Kyler Murray was
credit for it, though.
He wouldn't have 100
And
yards.
especially because you said, you should have just said, will he have 100 yards?
You should have said 55.
I mean, how many Marquise, has he had 100 yards this year?
He's on my fantasy team. I should know he ain't did nothing.
I would have said no even if it was Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I didn't understand why you guys asked that question.
I would go under 100 yards with almost any receiver in the league against this Browns secondary.
It's kind of
hard.
Tyreek
Hill would be the only guy.
But Marquise Brown hasn't even had 100 yards against anybody this year.
I mean, listen, Jackson Smith and Jigba had like 1 catch.
DK had 60 yards.
DK had 60 yards. Tyler Lockett had some yards, but they wasn't doing nothing.
No. Brown secondary did a really good job against Seattle.
But it's not, in this case, it's not even about the Brown secondary. It's
the quarterback, too.
Marquise Brown, the most yards he's had in a game this year is, what the hell is this? Come on now. Most.
We gotta get Bull a tablet. So
I know.
Actually,
we have an iPad sitting back here that's doing nothing.
Can we get that board like Kenny and Shaq got? Where they just run to the board and you just touch it. Yeah, listen, I already had this up here.
I would love to do with the black space over there. Yeah, something like that. But
how much would that cost?
More than we have available to us right now.
Marquise Brown this year, the most
Nothing.
he did have 96 yards in the game against the Niners.
That was
Their
it.
secondary's trash.
He has not had 100 yards since the third week of last year.
Oh, stop playing. Yeah.
And he's had only 100-yard games, 6 100-yard games his whole career.
Well, do you know what's scary? When we all agree
That's
we're
a
usually
terrible
wrong.
question.
So hopefully this.
Yeah,
is
but that's a
not
bad question because nobody would.
I mean, what routes are they going to run for him to be wide open?
Just go deep and pray.
Yeah.
Unless Clayton Tune is the next Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
By the way, is Brock Purdy? Can we get Brock Purdy? But is Jay going to admit that Brock Purdy's not better than Josh Allen?
Oh wow! Oh, that's a take.
That take is aged very poorly.
That take is.
And honestly, Josh Allen hasn't played great either recently. But still,
that take has aged about as well as a diaper in an old trash can that people forgot about.
Worst take, is that the worst take in the history of the show?
It's on the list for the takeys again this year. When we do our end of year ceremony.
Last year was Earl's Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, but this is tough.
Or
last year's Jay was voted the winner of worst take for saying Baker was back after the one game.
After
the one game.
That one run Rams.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
That beat Earl's Donovan Mitchell take for worst take of the year.
But listen, we had a whole show
Yeah.
as if we were the 49ers or locked on the 49ers podcast or something.
Yeah.
We talked about that man Purdy, and it was an argument over him. I'm like, dang, bro,
By the way, have you seen? We're getting a lot of pub out in Seattle because I asked, is Bobby Wagner a Hall of Famer?
Yeah. They're mad at you.
They were so mad. There was like people, this guy's an idiot. Like, what, I'm supposed to know? He's a linebacker for the Seahawks. I'm supposed to pay attention to every team's best players?
Hey, that is such a New York retort right there. I mean, he's a linebacker for the Seahawks.
And then eventually I came around and said he was a Hall of Famer.
Right.
I thought it was hilarious, though.
And we was trying to get him. Remember we was trying to lobby for him?
Yeah.
Bull's like, I don't want him. He's not a Hall of Famer. I don't want him. But now that Bull knows he's a Hall of Famer, if we can retroactively go back to this. And what's the next one?
Go ahead.
All right, so this one was our most even split. Will the Browns rush for at least 165 yards as a team? Bull G Ty said yes. McNuggets, Earl, and Jason said no.
Man, you and Earl are having a terrible game.
We're in lockstep. We're going to win.
Lost.
Here's why they're not going to rush for 165 yards. Despite the fact I think they should go into this game plan with Watson and/or P.J. Walker, run heavy because Arizona's not great against the run.
Yeah.
They're even worse against the pass. And Stefanski, for better or worse, likes to have a very even 50-50 run-pass split balance. So they had 40 carries last week.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. They got 155 yards. They didn't have 165 last week in Seattle.
Yeah, but Arizona's way worse than Seattle.
I grant that. But I don't think they're going to run the ball 40 times.
Don't you think they're going to have a lead against Arizona and want to just run the ball?
Well, I think they should have ran the ball on 3rd and 3 last week, and that didn't happen.
That's one play, though.
I'm just saying,
just
because you
their
assume
game
something's
plan
going to
was
happen.
to run. They have run the ball a ton the last
I
few
just don't think they're going to run 40 times, and I think they're going to need to run the ball 35
No,
times.
they won't. They'll break a couple of big
yards.
runs. They won't. I think they might get over 200 yards rushing this week. I think they're gonna kill them on the ground. Kill them.
I want to see. Listen, I want to see how many times. I want to see how many carries Hunt gets. You know, Stefanski don't never talk back to nobody except for the low lifes, right? The lowlings, like he feels like. Myles Garrett be calling people out. Deshaun Watson be calling people out. Nothing. Amari Cooper went over to P.J. Walker. He's like, you better throw me this ball on this play, and it was caught on tape. It was like, Stefanski was like, it's Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
I trust him what he saw, but Kareem Hunt. I'll talk to him after this.
But Kareem Hunt made some comments yesterday that everybody's good. I don't know, you know.
We'll see. We'll see.
Kareem Hunt, he should get some touches in the fourth quarter, but I don't know. I think we're all coming around on Pierre Strong.
I like Pierre Strong.
I really like Pierre
a lot of him. I think the Browns are going to have a massive day on the ground.
But by the way, in goal line circumstances, I want nobody but Kareem Hunt.
I agree with that.
And last one.
All right, last one for you guys is, will the Browns defense hold the Cardinals to under 14 points? Everybody said yes on this. So
yeah, this was a bad.
What would you guys have said if we said 10 points?
Really? I got to be very critical of whoever came up with these questions. That should have been under 10.
Yeah.
And the Marquise Brown should have been like over 75. Yeah.
So what about if the answer was 10? What would you have said?
I still would have said under, but you would have thought, like G probably would have said over.
I would have, because here's the thing.
Or 9, over 9 maybe.
The Browns seem to give up a lot of garbage points. Like, they're not, like, I can see them throwing the ball, and they up 21-6, and they let them dudes just walk down the field and get a touchdown or something like that.
G, you want to read my notes? Number 6 here. If you want to read
note number 6. There.
This is the fence rider question.
All right. This one scares me the most because I think there's garbage time potential for a late touchdown here that'll eclipse 14. But this defense should be able to completely shut down the Arizona offense. There's not a unit on the field that favors Arizona in this matchup, and with a rookie quarterback, I don't see it happening. You're right. Late
garbage
touchdown.
time. That's the only reason it scares me is a late, and they scored a late garbage time touchdown to cover last week against Baltimore.
Yeah.
They scored 24 against Baltimore.
Betting on the NFL.
Such a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Such a crapshoot.
Like it's worse than blackjack. They'd be like 2, 3, 6, 5, ace, 21. You lose. You're like, what? I stood on the 20. What do you do? Yeah, you lose all your bread. You lose your whole house.
All right, we got a new game show to play. Every
do.
day we're coming up with new games. This one's called the BS meter.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to try this out and see how it works. So the way it's going to show, I'm going to show you guys this tweet, and it's going to be a quote from Kevin Stefanski here. Steve, we can take the tweet here on Tagboard. So first up, Kevin Stefanski said he was fine not acquiring a veteran quarterback, reiterating that he likes our roster. So on the BS meter, which we're going to show here, is Bull's baseline BS meter from 1 to 10, 1 being completely believable, 10 being total BS. Bull, what do you have to say about it?
I think I gave it a 10. Right? Is that what I put? 10?
You did. You did give it a 10.
Oh, the bull turned red. Yeah, it's now, I do think he likes the roster. That part of this, I agree with. But he doesn't like the quarterback. He has to be frustrated. What coach would not want another quarterback on this team? And there's no way he really believes that. So I think that is 100% BS, that he's not frustrated they didn't get a quarterback. Now, maybe I should have said 8, because maybe he's not frustrated because maybe he knows that they really tried hard and in the end they couldn't get it done. And, he has inside information that we don't have, so maybe I should have softened a little with an 8. But overall, there's no way he can be happy with the quarterback situation.
It's funny that you had mentioned that last little part.
Yeah.
Because I gave it a 9 out of 10 for that exact reason.
Yeah.
Maybe he knows they tried, and if you try and you don't succeed, well, at least you know you tried. But he said on Monday, we can't deal with turnovers. I cannot have my quarterback turn the ball over.
Right.
And what does P.J. Walker do better than literally anyone else in the league right now? He turns the ball over, which is the worst thing you can do as a quarterback. So I went with a 9 out of 10 because I do think he's frustrated they did not bring someone in. But I gave him that 1 out of 10 little sliver for the fact that maybe he knows they did try and it wasn't possible. But I'm calling BS. There's no way he's happy they didn't make a move.
Let me look at these. You got one that's a 10, one that's a 9. One thing I can give you is that P.J. Walker, he does a lot of Limp Bizkit. Code word, give it away.
Give it away.
Give it away. Give it away. Give it away now. He's giving it away every week, and Coach Stefanski is looking around like, I can't have this. Yeah, I like the BS meter on both of you guys because he's visibly shaken in his heart of hearts. He's visibly frustrated because he feels like I could be winning these games. I could have Deshaun Watson. We could be running around. We could be 6-1 right now, but I got these bums at quarterback, and I can't do anything about it. So, yes, I agree with those guys. I think we'll split the difference between them, a 9 BSC meter, and I'll take both of them. They're true factual. I
wonder where, and obviously the Browns have, they lost, they've lost 2 games since Watson got hurt, right? The Ravens, 2 games. If, Deshaun Watson had played, obviously, his best game with Tennessee, if he had not gotten hurt in this game, like, you think about, like, where would they be, right? Would they have won all 4? Like, was he about to pop again?
Right.
Or was he going to be up and down? We'll
That's
never
what's
know.
So frustrating. We don't know.
And you notice the most frustrating part that a lot of people, we talk about, how your mind plays tricks on you. When we get to next year, you're not even going to count this as a year of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, it's going to be another question mark.
You got another, even if they make the playoffs, right? Yeah. You're not going to have enough sample size or enough work to even judge whether or not Deshaun Watson is
right. We're going into next year still not sure what he is at this point.
Golly, don't that suck?
Yeah.
3 full seasons since a healthy Deshaun.
That's crazy.
All right, so the next quote and the next tweet, which you guys both answered, was Kevin Stefanski said P.J. Walker will start versus the Cardinals if Deshaun Watson can't play. Bull, you gave this a 2 out of 10. Pretty believable. Mike, you gave this a 1 out of 10.
What is he lying about here?
Yeah.
I gave it a 1 out of 10 because I don't fully believe anything a coach says. If he told me his name was Kevin Stefanski, I'd be like, that's probably a
What do
little
you mean
fishy.
give it a 1? One's the lowest you can give it then.
Well, yeah, it's like it's the lowest. Like I believe what he's saying. I only gave it a 1 because I'm always skeptical at a press conference setting, but I have no reason not to believe that. Lowest grade I can give it.
And you guys are right. This is very low because it's probably one of the reasons they didn't bring in a veteran quarterback. Because what happens is, say in the world they did go get another quarterback. In our minds, we counting down to when he gonna play. we gonna be like, well, you got this guy for a reason. Why would you be playing P.J. Walker?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think they kind of made a decision. Okay, well, at least we know what we got in these two guys. And this is a bad thing, though. Watch this. Say they do go out and get a quarterback and they trade for him, right? And he's good. Say they did get a Jacoby Brissett. What if Jacoby Brissett plays so well that he leads them, they get into the playoffs, it's seamless. Now you come back next year, and like we said, it's 3 whole years.
Yeah, I don't think it wouldn't matter. I don't think that's not a reason not to make the trade. I don't think. Now, you got any more, Anthony, or is that it?
We do. No,
we have one more.
Okay,
Let me get it up here real quick. So Deshaun Watson. That was a good one. Yeah, Deshaun Watson will practice on a limited basis today. Stefanski said, "I'm not making any game time decisions today."
Any game day decisions.
Any game day decisions.
Oh,
Mike, we'll let you go first with this one.
What did I give this?
I give this one a 7 out of 10. And here's why I'm calling BS on it. If Deshaun came out yesterday was with visible zip on his passes, he looked great, no pain, he felt awesome, and said, hey, coach, I'm playing, then the decision's made. It's not a decision. It's a fact that Deshaun Watson would play. Now, granted, we heard from Deshaun earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Since then, since I sent that in, got some new information, which clearly wasn't the case.
Give me the quote again. Can you put it back up, Anthony?
The quote was, he was not ready to make any game day decisions yesterday. And I believe that if Deshaun looked great, he would have made a game day decision. Deshaun's my quarterback. He's starting, point blank, period. So I called BS on it because it was all dependent on how Deshaun looked.
Right.
And he said that before they practiced. So.
Fair. That's fair. I give it a 5. I mean, because that could go either way.
Same range.
It could go either way.
He could. I like both the scores. He could have flip-flopped on it a little bit, but he said today, which really gave him a lot of lock-in ability. So
That's
So
true.
he said, now if he would have said, I ain't making no decision until Sunday, then he had more wiggle room.
But if Deshaun went out there yesterday and looked horrendous and was in invisible pain,
I actually don't think he was going to make a decision yesterday because at the very least he'd want to see how Watson responded the next day.
That's just why I didn't give him a 10 out of 10.
All right. Very good.
I'm just calling it something's a little fishy. If it looked a certain way, he could have made a decision.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect him to.
By the way, remember when LeBron first came back to Cleveland and he had, he was kind of hurt and he just went to, Europe and got this, platelet stuff?
The knees? Kobe did the same thing, too.
Is that legal? Can Deshaun Watson get that off? I was like, did he really do that? He did that in
Deshaun, go get a plasma shot in Europe, man.
And LeBron was real skinny. He came back and was 245, 250 again, and in 9 days. I say, bro, I don't know what kind of platelet release plasma they giving you, but we need to get everybody on that program.
I don't know what he's doing, but the Jets general manager, Joe Douglas, said we fully expect Aaron Rodgers to be back this season. Which
that's ridiculous.
Hell no.
May or may not happen. Who knows?
Come on.
But that would defy every medical timeline that humanity has ever seen.
He's been locked.
And if he's whatever drugs or medicine or platelets or
mushrooms or
whatever he's doing, if it works, everyone has to start doing it.
By the way, you know what happened? All his conspiracy theories, people will believe all his nonsense.
Oh, they will.
If he comes back quicker.
Listen, he's going to be the new InfoWars if he come back and throw this up.
It does set up a very interesting Week 17 matchup on Thursday Night Football.
He's not going to play. I don't believe
impossible.
That. I don't believe that.
I think it's impossible, too. I'm just saying, their GM now has said to the public at a press conference, we fully expect Aaron Rodgers back this season.
Now, I did see.
Which sets the weird precedent, which we came back to earlier with Kevin Stefanski. He's going to play. Andrew Berry says he's going to play versus San Francisco. The GM has now put it out there that he expects Aaron Rodgers to play.
Maybe he's trying to keep season ticket holders involved.
Yeah, who knows? Jet fans go anyway, but
you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's crazy, though.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, guys, we're still waiting for Aditi, but while we wait, I'm going to remind everybody that you can score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's absolutely no better time to get in on all the action. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So go ahead and visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
By the way, G, Mikey McNuggets, and myself will all be at the Muni lot on Sunday.
Yep.
We're coming down early. We still got to, we'll discuss at lunch our time that we're going to meet up. And we will be there to hang and to party with you before the game. We are accepting all free food,
all burgers,
all free drinks.
Dogs. They got to be 100% beef. Don't be coming. I'm not coming down there for them little chicken and turkey wieners.
No chicken and turkey wieners. What's that, Anthony?
We have Aditi when you guys are ready for it.
By the way,
yes,
for myself.
super duper.
But so please invite us to your tailgate. I want to go to some tailgates where people are making some creative meals
And pumped up too.
And yeah, we want a lot of excitement, a lot of energy. It's going to be a lot of fun. And one person who's going to be in Cleveland this Sunday is Aditi Kinkhabwala from CBS. There she is.
What's up, Aditi?
What is my hair doing, guys?
No
What
idea.
was that all about?
I got
We have to take you off camera because you had one hair out of
listen, I got the most important question for Aditi. I have not done this in a while. So,
Oh my.
Here we go.
would you rather not brush your teeth for a month or not shower for a month?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Neither. Both are non-negotiable.
No, if you
sorry.
had to choose. You had to choose. It's a good question.
It's a great question.
I mean, I guess it would have to be the teeth, but like I'm bothered if I don't brush my teeth for a few hours. Like I hate when my teeth are grimy and you know, like
I hate it. Because I'm
I don't
fat,
even like.
purposely-
I use an electric toothbrush, and it makes my
me
teeth
too.
really nice and smooth. And if I'm like gone for 3 days and I only have the manual toothbrush, it's just not the same.
You have very nice teeth.
She
Aditi's got
shaves
great
her
teeth.
own teeth down. That's great.
Aditi's got great teeth, and both of those things are horrible. As a fat guy, I try to be really good about my hygiene because I don't want to be. You know, it's easier to get sweaty when you're fat.
Yeah.
So I shower at minimum twice a day. Sometimes 3.
Same.
There are days I
Same.
take 4 showers.
See, that's why that question is so devastating, especially if you big.
It's tough.
Well,
I
you
would
shower
have,
every time you use the bathroom. You've
every
told us
time
that
I go.
before.
Yeah, every time I do a number 2, Aditi, I go take a shower after. Thought you'd like to know that.
No, I mean, you know what? This conversation I'll have with you offline, but I think that that's tremendous. I mean, there are many, many parts of the world where you always use water to clean yourself.
That's right.
Yeah,
I'm
because,
working on
just
that. I
the
have
toilet paper is not enough.
I know. I'm getting a bidet or what's called a water. Can't remember
you
what it's
are?
called. I'm getting one of those.
Good for
I
you.
have to have an outlet put by my toilet.
Now
there
you
that
know.
we're working on.
You can't take baths. Grown men should
I don't
not be
take
taking no
baths.
baths.
I don't take a bath.
Okay, cool. I
Never.
was just checking.
Never.
Like,
Wait, why can't a grown man take? I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I haven't gotten in a bathtub in a long, long time. But why can't grown men take baths?
If you caught your husband with candles lit around the bathtub, and
I mean,
was
he
just
doesn't
sitting there
like
taking
candles,
some
but I've
alone
known him
time.
to get in the bathtub. I mean, I can take you in to show you the slipper tub that we put in our master bath, and he has been in that bathtub.
I can't be in there reading no romance novel with candles lit, and I'm 6'5",
so I
330.
like warm water, and the water just gets cold too fast.
Yeah, right.
That's like number one.
Lukewarm.
And number two, like the whole, I don't understand a bath as a way to get clean. Like even
Gross.
my 4-year-old loves taking baths. So she sits in the bath and she plays in the bath and the bubbles and we wash her. But then I insist that like when she gets up, I drain the water and I use the like hose function to hose her off.
You gotta rinse that off.
Like clean water. You can't rinse off with dirty bath water.
it's gross.
And you 4 years old,
Agreed.
you really not really doing nothing that much to get dirty. Like your legs shouldn't be dirty as a 4-year-old.
Yeah, no. My kids play outside. She's always got like mulch in her shoes. I don't know how she doesn't smell like her brother. Her brother smells like grown up sweat. Isn't that funny? I don't like what happens when your boys are like little kids and then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, this grown man sweat.
Yeah, you're a grown man today.
By the way, I did have to go when I tore my Achilles. I had surgery and then I had to wear a cast on my leg for I think it was 10 days, and then I went into a boot. But for those 10 days, I couldn't take a shower, and it was the worst.
Ooh.
Oh, I believe it.
I'd wash the body, but a little. But I couldn't. It's different than just doing a wash around and doing a shower. I felt the shower I took after that 10 days was the best.
I'm sure. I'm just like you. I don't, like I get off of a plane and I come home, I have to shower. I never get into a bed to sleep without having showered. I obviously shower after I work out. Yeah. Big showerer. Big.
By the way, outdoor clothes in the bed, and especially airplane clothes in the bed.
Nasty.
No. No. Agreed.
Outside clothes. My mom used to make us sit on the porch.
There you go.
You smell like outside. Get back out. I'm like, but it's dark. No, you get out. You smell like outside.
Smart.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, let's get to some football stuff. Aditi, this Deshaun Watson situation is just a mess. It's like, I can't remember if we've communicated this to you, but when Bernie was here, he had the same exact injury, and he said, like, you just don't know from week to week how your arm's going to fire. And this is an injury that takes a long time to fully heal. I was just so surprised the Browns didn't. They tried to get Jacoby Brissett, apparently. Reportedly, they offered a 6th-round pick. I'm surprised they didn't try harder. I think this team, they can't win a Super Bowl with Jacoby Brissett, P.J. Walker, we get it. But Jacoby Brissett is a way 3 classes better than P.J. Walker, and he'd give you this team would be definitely 5-2 with Jacoby Brissett, no doubt in my mind. Maybe even 6-1. But I don't know. I'm very frustrated by the fact that they didn't do it, because it feels like even if he plays, we're going to be holding our breath with Watson every week.
My understanding is that Washington was asking a lot. And the flip to that is that the Browns clearly have some optimism that Deshaun Watson is indeed better, going to be better, will indeed be able to play, that they weren't going to once again sort of mortgage the future for somebody who might come in for just one game. And so I think that's maybe there's a whole level of optimism to that. Maybe that's kind of rose-colored glasses, but at least that's the way I'm looking at it. I do think we just got off of our call. It's funny. Mikey was asking me, who are you talking to with the Browns as part of our production meeting? And I said, I don't know. It's changing every minute because we're kind of hedging our bets here. And we did talk to Walker because we didn't talk to P.J. Walker before the Indy game, which we obviously had. But if Deshaun Watson is going to be starting, we're going to want to talk to Deshaun Watson as well, obviously. With the Cardinals, we're having to do both of those things as well. Yeah. We don't know if we're talking to Clayton Tune or if we're talking to Kyler Murray. It's kind of all in the air. But it sounds right now like the Browns are proceeding with some optimism. I mean, P.J. Walker is preparing as a starter, as he should be, but he's not taking 100% of the first-team reps. So I think Bernie telling you that this really is a very tricky injury and that it really is a day-to-day thing should appease fans a bit who are questioning what's going on with Deshaun Watson.
Yes, but it's not going to appease people like, I agree with you. The people that are saying, is he really hurt? Why is he not playing? That's stupid. Brady Quinn, I thought his comments were ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it doesn't appease even if they're optimistic, how could they be? How could they, after what they saw 2 weeks ago in Indianapolis, I just don't see how they could be optimistic, even if he starts the game. Like, it's fine and dandy to be able to make throws in practice. It's another thing as we saw in the game, Aditi.
Well, and to put yourself up to potentially be hit. I mean, that was the point that Kevin Stefanski made, right, in that very game at halftime, that he saw him go down and he just didn't want to risk anything. But I think this is also cumulative time to some degree. Like the further removed you get from the initial injury, you do have reason to feel better. And so I think that's a piece of it right now as well. It's just, again, I feel like I keep saying the same thing. It's just such a shame. This defense is playing at such a high level. You do have a lot of skill position players who are sort of ready to have some continuity or deserve some continuity. I mean, what could Amari Cooper be doing if he had some continuity at the quarterback position? And I'm not bringing up Elijah Moore because I don't want to have the same argument with you all over again. But at least Amari is producing.
Yes.
And that's with barely knowing who he's playing with.
You know, Aditi, I threw this out a little bit, but I didn't really pull this theory together. I'll throw it out, see what you think. I think a lot of the angst comes from Browns fans and a lot of people, because it's not just the injury. I think people are even talking about this year going into next year. Even if Deshaun Watson comes back and he plays some games and he plays okay this year, people are still going to go into next year still having the question that they've had since Jump Street. What is Deshaun Watson? Is he a franchise quarterback? And is he the guy that can lead us to the Super Bowl? And because they haven't got that yet.
There's still so much season left, however. You're 7 games in. There's a lot of season left still. There's still so much that could happen. I mean, why are we already saying that there's going to be these questions? Could there be? Yes. If this is a somewhat lost season, if Deshaun Watson never fully regains the strength and the velocity in his shoulder, then yes. But what if he does get better? And what if he does suddenly start playing like he played?
Well, a different story.
Well, there is.
I guess we just don't buy that.
They only had one game so far. Now, I'm not saying I'm saying this.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is people, it's like having a Christmas present, and they keep telling you every month, you can open it later.
Right.
And you're like, hold on, but Christmas was last month.
No, Aditi, you're right. If he does get back to as close to 100% as he can get, then yes, we will have a better feel for it. I guess our assumption is that we're never going to see that this year. And you're not as you know, you're not thinking that we might. You think there's a chance?
No, I'm sitting here thinking we're going to see him this weekend.
Well,
it might be wishful thinking. Look, I mean, I'll be openly honest here. As a broadcaster, I root for the story.
Sure.
And so Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson is a story that would make me very happy. Now, if it's Clayton Tune and Dorian Thompson-Robinson, if it's P.J. Walker and Clayton Tune, then great. Those are great stories, too. No offense to you,
Jeff
Clayton
Driscoll. Well, no Jeff Driscoll love?
Yes, right, Jeff Driscoll. Yes, although Jonathan Gannon has said that it'll either be Tune or, although Driscoll is the backup, so if something happens to Tune, there you go. No, but obviously I think that if Kyler Murray makes his debut for this coaching staff, his season debut, and if Deshaun Watson is healthy and ready to go in front of the dog pound, that's a heck of a story. That's what I'm pulling for at this moment. All due respect to P.J. Walker and Clayton Tune.
Aditi, you mentioned stories, and this is something we haven't spoken about yet on the show, but Jonathan Gannon's from Cleveland. He went to St. Ignatius High School. And this is the second time in 3 weeks now the Browns have played a former Eagles coordinator. So in your kind of studying of the Cardinals, and if you've talked to Gannon yet, what kind of makes him unique as a head coach, and what should Browns fans be ready for on the opposing sideline come Sunday with?
There's a lot here, and I can't share all of it because obviously I need to save some of it for the game. Those of you that are not, even if you are in the Muni lot, at least listen, watch on your phones or something like that. You know, he also goes back with Kevin Stefanski. The two of them they're basically the same age. Their wives are good friends. They have kids around the same age. The two of them were in Minnesota together and have stayed really good friends through their various stops. And you're right, he did go to St. Ignatius. He was not a huge Browns fan. He was like 10 or 11 years old when the Browns left town. But his whole family is. And he said that his mom and his sister and all of his in-laws, nieces, nephews, everybody's going to be at the stadium. And he did say he's not sure if they'll be in Browns gear or if they'll be in Cardinals gear. So there is that. You know what? I'm a huge Jonathan Gannon fan. I really, really like him. I like how hard players play for him. I like how much he cares about people and his intensity. I think that, you know, they don't have the results, but there's no question that these players aren't playing hard for him. And he takes chances. I shouldn't say it that way. He's willing to keep an open mind about people. For him, it's not only about who's the fancy draft pick or what is your pedigree. It's what are you doing for us now? And how are you playing for us now? And I appreciate that. He's starting a lot of young players right now. There are a lot of rookies on that team that are in key roles.
Aditi, the Browns have obviously 2 of the last 3 weeks found ways to win, despite getting, I would say, overall net negative play from the quarterback position. 1 touchdown, 6 turnovers for P.J. Walker. 1 touchdown, 9 turnovers total between P.J. Walker and DTR. But they found ways to win. You have talked about for the last few weeks, and it's been a really good point, hey, the defense has to win the games. They're, the alpha unit. They're the lead unit, whatever. Well, a lot was made of Kevin Stefanski throwing the ball last week on that third down play that led to an interception. It's a fair criticism, in my opinion, and I defend Stefanski, and I rarely complain about play calling. However, what I feel like has gotten lost a lot this week, outside of this show, is that in the end, after that turnover, the Browns defense that played, after playing terribly in the first quarter, played great for most of the rest of the game. They collapsed in that final drive and allowed Seattle to march down the field. They failed to get the job done. In the end, as well as they played, they let the team down last week, I think.
I'm not going to disagree with you. It's funny because we talk about fans and how they see things, and our great friend Jason Lloyd wrote a phenomenal column about Kevin Stefanski and the coaching job he's doing this year that fans sometimes lose sight of. As fans keep focusing on that 3rd and 3, which, let's be honest, was such a freaky play that it hit the guy in the helmet anyway, the way that it all worked out.
Right.
And PJ Walker said he's made that throw a million times. It almost always goes by the player's head. This is what happens in the game of football. It's a game of inches. But so much is made of that play call and not of this stifling, ostensibly number one defense, allowing, as you said, the opposing team to go all the way down the field. And I'm with you on that one. I feel like it's terrible that the offense turned the ball over. It's terrible that the defense was put in that position. But right now, you're starting a quarterback who's only been with the club for 2 months, who's still really learning a lot of the intricacies of the offense, who doesn't have a ton of experience. You've got to step it up. You can't make mistakes like that. So, yes. But, what can they do? They flush it. They show up on Wednesday, they flush it, they put it behind them. And like I said just a few minutes ago, there's still a lot of season left. A lot of season left. Yeah. I would also argue, P.S., that the run defense hasn't been that great recently either.
It has not.
And the level of physicality hasn't quite been the same as we saw a few weeks ago.
Seattle ran for 117 yards on 13 carries.
Indianapolis, obviously,
Indy
Gardner Minshew ran
Yeah,
over.
I mean, and there were lapses in that. There were lapses in that Indy game, quite frankly. I mean, were there amazing moments where it was thank goodness for Myles Garrett? Sure, but then Gardner Minshew was also moving the ball on them.
They've really struggled against the read option, which I know is a staple of what Arizona does. And with Clayton Tune potentially a quarterback, I have no idea if Clayton Tune can run the read option, but if Kyler Murray's back, I know it's his first game, but that could be something they utilize.
He's a little bit more of like a, pocket pat. He's not Kyler Murray, let's say that. But I think that the Cardinals are quite bullish on Kyler Murray being potentially ready to go, So he's carrying a full workload.
Aditi,
and that's a whole other level of athleticism. Sorry about that, Mikey. Go ahead.
You're good. Do you think we'll have an announcement necessarily from either side by Friday, or is this going to be a game-time decision for both teams?
No, I mean, well, with Kyler Murray, at least on Saturday, you'd have to know, right, if he's being activated or not. And I doubt that they would actually activate him if they're not playing him, simply because you don't have to. It's not like that window ends and you have to make a decision Saturday. So if you're not going to play him, why waste a spot on him? Mm-hmm. So I think that if they do activate him Saturday, that you'll know that. The Browns, I don't know. I don't know if they'll have it go to a game-time decision. Even in Indianapolis, all the signs were pointing to Deshaun Watson getting the start, but the Browns didn't want us to definitively say on Saturday night he was definitely starting because, I mean, crazy things can happen. What if he fell in the shower on Sunday? What if he woke up on Sunday with an enormous amount of stiffness? You don't know, and I think that that's just kind of where we are right now in the game as well, that when guys are kind of teetering or even if not questionable, but like probable, if you don't have to definitely say until 90 minutes before, why definitely say until 90 minutes before?
That's a good point. Aditi, the Browns traded DPJ to Detroit this week, and that means, or at least we hope, Cedric Tillman will get a bigger chance to showcase why the Browns drafted him in the third round on Sunday. We had this discussion earlier. G and Bull think he will not have a single catch on Sunday. I seem to think the Browns will make sure they showcase what he can do. What can we expect from Cedric Tillman? And is it too fair to expect one catch from their third-round pick?
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think that Kevin Stefanski is sitting here thinking, oh, well, I need to go and justify why DPJ was traded, so let me make sure that I can showcase the guy that's there. I mean, it was a loaded wide receiver room, and I think it was a nice thing to do for DPJ, to get him off to a place where he could have more opportunity and he could have more chances. I mean, that was sort of like the Josh Dobbs trade, is that would they have liked to have kept Josh Dobbs? Yeah, but Josh was getting an opportunity to start. So, okay, why not? I think one catch is fair. I do, but I also feel like it hinges on who's playing quarterback.
Thank you.
Wait a second, Aditi. The Lions have a better wide receiver room than the Browns do.
I think that TPJ will find space there. I think he will be able to contribute.
Well, because they have a better passing game and they have a better quarterback right now.
Currently,
Jared Goff,
correct.
man, I did not think Jared Goff was good. He's been really good for the Lions the last 2 years. Outside of that Ravens game 2 weeks ago where they were terrible. But overall, with Detroit, he's been really good.
It's another reason that fan bases should have patience. I remember last year having the Lions, and the Lions were in the midst of, I don't know, they'd lost like 4 of 5, or, they were not in a good place. And Sheila Hemp, I want to say her name, and I don't know. She's the owner. I can't believe I'm screwing this up, but she had come out that week and sort of given Dan Campbell the vote of confidence and said, I know he doesn't need to hear me say this because I tell it to him all the time, but I want all of you to hear me say this. And I remember having the conversation with Dan Campbell that week. How do you actually teach a team how to win a close game or close out a game? And he said, what Bill Parcells used to say is that you learn how to win a close game by winning a close game. That at some point you just have to do it. And so ownership in Detroit had patience with Dan Campbell. Eventually, they won a close game, and then they rattled off a ton of wins. And you saw how they ended the season. It's another reason of why you should have patience and why you need to have patience with your coaches and why you need to have patience with certain players. Because once it breaks, it can break. It can't break until it breaks the first time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we got the DPJ move. Another guy we haven't seen since the first part of the season is DTR. I said that, hey, if Deshaun Watson, they may use P.J. Walker this game. Kevin Stefanski has really told us that. But if I was them, at some point, I might go back to DTR. What are your thoughts on him possibly being ready to play if P.J. Walker is not doing the job?
I don't, I can't give you any sort of degree. I can't say with any degree of confidence. I know he's in a better spot than he was when he was pressed into starting against the Ravens. I think a lot of this right now comes down to P.J. Walker's turnover issue. He's got to clean that up. He full well knows that he has to clean that up. Each one kind of has its own story, but still there's nothing more important than taking care of the football and protecting the football. And so at some point, if Deshaun Watson isn't healthy, if he cannot go, if it looks like there's a long period of time in this case, then yes, that could be considered. But again, I'm going to preface all of this by saying I think that there is optimism surrounding Deshaun Watson.
All right,
and not just because I would rather cover a game with Deshaun Watson.
So Didi said Deshaun Watson is definitely playing this week. Put it down.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray.
We're getting Deshaun versus Kyler.
All right, guys.
All right,
Talk to you later.
We'll see you later. Aditi Kinkhabwala from CBS Sports. Always good to chat with her.
She's going to have a bath. Take a bath after that interview.
Okay, pause.
Yeah.
I don't know. Talking about her taking a bath. Mike's a little forward of you. Go ahead.
Yeah, guys. So we have our 1-year anniversary memberships, and we got some super chats today. And whenever we bring you super chats, comes from PCC Airfoils. Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up. Plus, get full benefit package, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
So we've talked about this. Halloween was the first anniversary of when we started memberships on the show. The show premiered May 9th of 2022. And then on October 31st of 2022, we premiered memberships. And we wanted to thank those members that have been with us for a full year. So there was a handful of people that signed up the first day, October 31st, another group that signed up the second day, November 1st, and another group that signed up the third day, November 2nd, which is today, a year later. And so we now want to thank the people that have now been with us a year as of today. C in our studios, Joe Alear, and Brian, don't call me Rico Suave.
I like that.
Thank you to you three and everyone else who's a member of the show. We duly appreciate you guys, and we cannot say thank you from the bottom of our hearts enough. And what we do is for you.
Why can't you send it from the top of your heart?
from my entire heart, from our collective hearts, we say thank you. And seriously, we cannot, we could not appreciate you guys anymore for hanging out with us every day, no matter if it's 7 o'clock for Behind the Glass, for the barbershop tonight at 7 o'clock, for today's show, if it's for the post-game shows, whatever it is, you guys show up and have made this the success it is. So I'm serious, and we joke around. Bull may say you're an idiot sometimes. Jay may say the chat isn't as whatever. It's all out of love, and we genuinely.
I didn't call anybody an idiot today. You didn't have to,
we haven't read the super chats yet.
Hey,
What's
we
that?
get to those.
We haven't read
What's
the super chats yet, Bull.
today?
Go ahead.
All right. Hyper Frosty says, I'm taking my little brother to the game on Sunday for his birthday. Will any of you be there? Also, I'm expecting some hot sauce this Monday.
Hyper Frosty's going to chug hot sauce for every win.
Oh.
And send us a video of it.
No, I'm not going to the game. The three of us are going to tailgating. I'm not going to the game. I assume you guys are not going either.
No. We do the post-game, we do the post-game show, and we start during the game, so it's really hard to go to the game.
And I'm recording my podcast as soon as the game's over.
So it's kind of.
But we'll be there in the Muni lot. If you're in the Muni lot, we didn't say this earlier, so we will. All three of us.
No,
will
we
be in the
did
Muni
say it
lot.
earlier.
No,
we
didn't say
it again.
We didn't say how to make sure I know where you'll be.
Oh yes.
Hit us up on Twitter, or email me. It's mlucas2@tegna.com.
Have some people reached out to you yet, or not yet?
Someone DM'd me. I got one person, but it's mlucas2, like the number 2. Which is funny because my last one I worked for Tegna in Texas, I was just M. Lucas. So I'm now the same person, but here I'm M. Lucas too.
Right.
At Tegna.com. Let us know where you're tailgating. We will do our best to come through, see as many of y'all as possible. But tweet at us. Email us is honestly the best way. Email me.
DMs. You can send me a DM. You can send G a DM.
And they'll forward it to me, but I will try to put together a collective
If you
plan
ask us to come to your tailgate, we will be there.
By the way,
I think we'll be able to get to everybody.
We are recording
this, 500.
Right? We are recording.
I'm bringing the camera.
So you might be on TV.
Yeah. I don't know. If we get 500 requests,
it'll
we're not
definitely
get
be
500
recorded.
requests.
We're going to put together something for Tuesday or Wednesday show based on our trips. I'm not sure if I'm going to bring.
It's not bad weather. I mean, for November,
it's pretty good
supposed
weather.
to be sunny and like 50 degrees.
We have a camera. I'm not sure if we're going to bring the camera because that's tougher to maneuver, but phones now are so good. But we have a mic for the phone. We will legitimately record this stuff. It'll be on YouTube, and we're going to put it on the show on Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those 2 days.
And I'm going to give out some stuff, too.
We're going to give out some stuff.
I might have a couple things to give away, too.
So let us know, and like I said, tweet at me, DM me, tweet at these guys. They'll forward it to me, or email me, which is probably the easiest.
We want to see you there Sunday. We're definitely coming.
At tegna.com. And what's the next one?
Definitely be there. By the way, our crew is going for lunch at Sweet Pork Wilson's today. It's a restaurant that just opened about 2 months ago. I mentioned it last week after I had went. Mikey McNuggets, myself, Anthony, Steve, Jack, our new sales guy, and that's it. Earl can't make it today, unfortunately, and Tyvis and
aren't here.
Tyvis and Jason aren't here, and Jay, but the rest of us are going, and we are going to feast. I know the guys are excited that we're coming down.
Wait.
We cannot wait.
Yeah. I haven't eaten since 7 o'clock this morning. I'm ready.
Best barbecue in all of Cleveland.
I just didn't eat breakfast this morning, but we got 2 more real quick, guys. So Akimbo RPGs says you guys should get Swoop TV. Apparently it's $20 a month, and you get all the games on Swoop TV. I've never heard of it, but that's what they said. And then from James Bowen, Bull, please never talk about your bathroom times again. Sincerely, all of us.
Actually, G brought it up.
I did.
He reminded it, but I brought it up originally.
But they be forgetting. Kool-Aid Mafia they erased that from their mainframe.
That's funny.
That never happened.
We got 2 minutes for overtime.
Yes.
You want to give a little tease of what's coming up in overtime, Bull?
Wait, real quick, before you tease that, I keep getting yelled at for not showing these. We do have 2 new membership emojis, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Earl have made it big time. We are in the emoji crew. You've got
Why
Shocked
does Earl look
Anthony.
miserable in his emoji?
Earl, who did you rob, Earl? What happened? Like, why you
He's
mad?
not sitting back here right now. He can't answer.
That's Angry Earl and Surprised Anthony.
Anthony looks like somebody. Oh, I can't say that. I was gonna say
it's like
he looks like he just got scared. Like someone jumped out behind the wall and said "boo," and Anthony was not expecting it.
It looks like that picture looks like somebody being like.
Put it back up, Steve.
Put it back up. Yeah, put that back up.
We're gonna roast them.
That looks like somebody told him they was late.
No, you know what?
Not late here.
Oh no, you don't want
I'm
that.
late.
You don't want that late
that
test.
could be.
My face wouldn't be there.
Did you ever see the movie Road Trip?
Yeah, classic.
Remember when they go to donate?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And that guy has a new experience. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yep.
That's what Anthony faced.
Put him back up, Steve. Put him back up.
Yeah.
That's the face Earl makes when he can't come to Sweet Pork Wilson's for external consequences.
No,
I can't believe he can't come.
That's the face when the state trooper says you're doing 59 in the 60-mile-an-hour range.
That's the look he had when he was watching Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs last year.
That's the look all we had.
It does look like Anthony's like a ghost.
Anthony's face looked like he found out what goes on at a prostate exam.
That's what I was just saying.
For real?
Or it could be Anthony just saw a ghost and pretending he's not scared.
He found out what sausages and hot dogs are really made out of.
Hooves and snouts.
Yeah. There you go.
By the way, would that stop anybody? Everybody keeps saying that. Oh, you wouldn't eat it if you knew what they were made of. We all know.
We know.
Everybody knows by now they're made of all kinds of crap. We still eat them.
And we just keep eating them, especially at a game. At a game, they taste 16 times better. I don't know why.
Yes, I don't know what it is. All right, on overtime, we're talking baseball. We have new World Series champs. The Guardians need a manager. That's coming up in overtime. We'll see you then.